This episode of the Co-optional Podcast is proudly sponsored by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain name, website, or online store, make your next move with squarespace.com/cooptional. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-optional Podcast here on the 6th of February 2018.
Hello.
Yo.
Greetings
Hello.
to all. This is an unusual confluence of events. I usually don't see those two people together. There was some speculation as to whether or not they might be the same person.
He's so much more handsome. Look at him. Just
Yeah,
a beautiful.
you're more witty.
I won't
and intelligent.
disagree.
Just a beautiful, beautiful man. Look at him, with that smile, those little dimples, and you just want to squeeze them. Yep, still
Do you?
sexy, still attractive.
Good.
Yep,
It's good. It's good.
yep.
Okay.
Why did you move the camera that way?
So I opened up TB's stream to, make sure and keep up with the memes, and then I noticed that half my face was below the screen.
You had sort of shrunk
But I might have
during
just
the
messed
intro,
up
I
even worse because
noticed.
I'm the worst.
Yeah,
I'm
you just
sorry.
made it worse. You moved yourself
You were
down.
just slumping.
Yeah. Is it good now?
You could move down a little
Move it
more
down
if you
just
wish
like
to
a- just
slump,
like a
which is fine. We're okay with slumping.
that?
Then yeah, that'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be all right.
So let it just be known, TotalBiscuit is a great producer. I'm a terrible guest. So
Yeah,
move
it was
on from
entirely
there.
his fault.
Yes, that is what we'll say. Yep.
And I'm just going to
Yeah.
allow that to continue to be the case and believed by the masses. That is fine by me. Welcome to the Co-optional Podcast. We do occasionally talk about video games. Our occasional guest, Mr. iNcontroL Robinson. Welcome back to the show.
Happy to be here. Always a great conversation. Thanks for having me, guys.
As always.
Hmm.
Well,
I never noticed. I don't know how long you've had it, but when you moved your head just so, I realized that it has your name. Your name is on
Oh, I'm a
your
chair.
chair. Bam!
I need to do more like, you said what? And then
Yeah, there it is. And
You
then
said
everybody's like,
something
"Oh
about
my gosh,
slouching?
he's big
I would
time."
never do that because of my Maxnomic chair. I am
Yeah, they don't
always in the
sponsor me anymore,
perfect
so
position.
I don't quite make as big of a point of it, but yeah, I should.
Yeah.
I never truly take advantage of this wonderful chair that TB recommended me. It's got like all the good curves and shit for your bod, but I spend all of the time at the computer leaning forward,
Slouching.
so I don't take advantage of any.
Oh.
It does absolutely nothing for you. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
okay. I lean forward too. Like I love to just be like, I'm involved. I'm in.
Well, yeah, and sometimes when you're playing something, you just
Yeah,
just
like you
lean in
naturally gravitate.
yeah.
I had
you
a
get
moment of
in the
self,
zone.
like a weird self-awareness moment that because I usually have pretty good posture. You should, if we sit in the chair as much as we do. But yesterday, for whatever, like the game, if the game's more intense, I get more. I start leaning in and
start to
then
get
like
sucked
8 hours
into
into it, I was like, oh shit, I'm killing myself. All
Yeah.
right.
Shit, I'm
Ugh.
Frankenstein.
That's going to do some serious damage long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. Don't do that.
Be aware of your posture.
Yes. You may believe you are invincible, but you are not. Especially
What?
when it comes to the back.
Especially the back. The back
Yep,
dies first.
Especially the back.
It does. It feels good one day, and then suddenly you are 75.
Poof. Poof dead.
Yeah. Your bones have turned to jelly. Just
Like
out
an
of
old
nowhere.
Korean lady.
Yep.
Exactly how it happens.
You wake up and you realize you can only roll out of bed rather than actually get out the normal way.
In the end, everyone becomes an old Korean lady. That's just life.
Yep.
That's life. That's,
Holy shit, I hope
That's the
so.
fate
They
of
all
us
look
all.
baller.
They do.
The fate of us all. Once the Co-optional Podcast, we do occasionally talk about video games. Coming up in the show, we'll be talking about the games that we've been playing this week, perhaps. Who wants to toss a hat in the ring to get us started on that?
I think Jesse should talk about Photo Finish.
Oh my. Okay, sure. Last week we talked about a game called Photo Finish.
Right.
It is literally a game where you go around in sort of a Pokemon-esque world, and you have to solve little puzzles in order to get women to take sexy photos for you for your magazine.
Oh yes, that it was sort of a tycoon game.
The
You're supposed
pinup
to
simulator.
rescue this pinup
it's
magazine
less tycoon.
company.
It's less tycoon and literally like it's maybe an hour and a half long. It's not. It's like
Wow,
$2, $3.
great.
It's not very long. I thought it was gonna be more than it was, but literally, it's like your boss is like, "Hey, dude, we need some sexy ladies for our magazine," and you're like, "Don't worry, sir, I'll get on it." And then you go around Sala City, and you like meet different women or different people in the town, and they'll all give you hints about stuff. Like this old lady's like, "My husband used to give me daffodils." So eventually, when you're at the florist, there's a bunch of flowers, and if you buy a daffodil, you can later give it to her, and then she'll give you
And then you can
something.
snap a photo of a hot old lady.
Yeah, a hot old lady.
that's
No,
where I was
she'll
going
give
with
you a thing, and then you can use it in your quest to get one of the like the sexy girls. But literally, it's everything from like one girl loves baseball and she likes hitting balls into the ocean, but she lost all 20 of her baseballs, so you got to find them around town, like that kind of shit. And then when you do,
How
she's
do you
like,
lose 20 fucking
okay.
baseballs? At that point, you should really be saying "fuck you." You can't be trusted with anything.
Stop putting baseballs in the ocean. Don't you know that there's a problem? Don't you know that there's a marine life problem right now?
there's yeah, I mean, there's an
That's how
alien
you
problem.
unlock
One of the girls is like a sexy scientist, and she's like, I'll give you nudes if you find me proof of aliens. So you do that, of course.
Naturally.
You do that,
Yeah.
and you. But
Seems like a
yeah,
reasonable
so
trade.
what happened was I was streaming it, and the very first photo I got was like, you know, a girl in a bikini, but she was like bent over, and it was sort of like a pinup girl pose. And I was like, okay, we're cool, everything's fine.
That
This
should
is
be good
gonna
for
be
your
like one of those
pinup
games
magazine,
where
yep.
it's not like just nudity. It's gonna be like, you know, it's for goofs.
The blam
Second-
nudity.
Second girl, little nip slip, and I was like, oh no, okay, this isn't good. Third girl,
But I'll go further.
oh yeah. I was like,
I bet it
third
won't
girl-
go any further than
third
that.
girl was just like tits out, and I was like, oh no, we need to. Thankfully, we discovered there's an option where you can cover everything up. So I was like, okay, covered. Thank God we did,
Thankfully.
because from that point on, it just got worse and worse. And
Not
to the
a
point where like
stream-friendly
hearts are
game.
everywhere, and you're just like, why is there a heart there? That doesn't. Yeah. So
It's not even a part of the body. That's...
yeah, it was like there's just a heart out in the middle of nowhere. Like, what is that? Yeah, it was. At the end of the day, it was like it was basically a glorified like Newgrounds game. Really, at the end of the day, it wasn't anything special.
I don't
It was
think
funny, but
people
not
are
like.
expecting
I
great.
liked the design on the girls, so I wanted it to be fun, but it sounds like it was just kind of
The art design is really cool. Like all the different girls are like, I'm trying to think of like what type of art.
they're very
But
like
it-
bubble pop.
Yeah.
Really bright and shiny and yeah.
And it like visually it's a cool looking game, but it's also just like, you know, walk around, find things. Here's my problem. Here's my problem with this
It's a
game.
work for your
Tell
tits
us your
game.
problem with this hour and a half
What's your
long
problem?
I
nudity game.
think TB gets me. It's not quite a game, and it's not quite porn. And so you're like, who is this for? Is this for the guy who like wants to really work hard to jack it? And if so,
Yep. That's
why
exactly who it's
spend
for.
$3 on that? And then there's like, was this person for the game, like the gamer who enjoys boobs every now and again? Because it's hardly a game. It's just, you know, it's the same. It's the same thing when they came out with like the Steam box, and I'm like, who is this for? The Steam
Right.
box is the Foto Flash of consoles, is what I'm saying.
Is the game
Yeah.
called Foto Flash?
Photo Flash,
You
FOTO.
just
Flash.
answered your own question. Then this
Is it-
game was made specifically only for that name.
Wait, is this Photo Flash or Photo Finish? Because you've been saying Photo Finish for the last 10 minutes,
Have I?
which would explain why I wasn't able to find any footage of it
it's
anywhere.
Photo Flash is the name
God,
of the
for
game.
fuck's sake.
Sorry.
No
It
wonder
is
no
10%
one could
off
find
right
it.
now on Steam.
It's good that you're not able to show anything because
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
nothing
I
to show.
could have.
there
I
are
could
nips in the
have.
middle of the ocean.
Probably could have found some footage that would have worked, but no.
No.
Now everyone's
Photo
been looking for a
Flash
game
was
that
the name of
never
the game.
existed.
Sorry.
Well done.
Oops.
To be fair, it's probably for the best, considering it sounds like it wasn't worthy of anyone's
FOTO
time.
Flash.
FOTO Flash.
Photo Finish is a
this is-
horse game.
Oh, that
This is
probably
even
has.
worse than you described, because if you look it up, it's a side scroller, and the NP. I mean, this is like This is like a T980 calculator game.
Oh,
This
and
is
it's not
terrible.
even spelt correctly.
Yeah,
it's
I said
Foto,
F-O-T-O.
F-O-T-O-A. Jesus Christ. So the whole name has been wrong in every way. Wonderful.
I like the logo. I think the logo is really well designed.
Great.
Whoever designed the logo is great.
I think this game, it'll emerge as like, this was a government, commission as a test for the people that actually do purchase this game. And right now there's like a satellite guided missile that's like logistically just being targeted to them. It's like, well, we
that
don't
does
need that.
seem like an investment that is unnecessarily expensive. For
It's
what
the
you would
government.
get out
It's
of
redundant,
it.
right?
For what you get out of it, I think there are better ways to spend that amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's the government, so I agree
Sure.
with you, but it doesn't matter. Holy shit, Jesse! Did you spend a full hour and a half on this?
Yeah. I want to. Can
That is his life.
Can I tell you something?
Wow!
That's what
I
he
told
does.
Dodger this. I learned this about Twitch in general. Started streaming this game yesterday. I don't know, 3,500 people watched this thing. Then I stopped playing it. Switched to Peach Beach Splash, the game where it's literally girls in bikinis spraying each other with water. Dropped 1,000. People do not want gameplay when it comes to their porn.
Nope.
Then
That makes the two.
I played the rest of Uncharted Lost Legacy, lost another 1,000. People do not care about women with full clothes on. I've learned this about the internet. It's just something I've learned. And
Yeah.
I guess from now on, it's me and 8-bit boobies. That's my stream. All
8-bit
streams.
And
all the
that's
time,
all you
8-bit
can
nip.
do. 8-bit, because anything higher fidelity will just get you banned from Twitch.
Yeah.
True.
But man, are those that 1 pixel is going to be hot.
Oh my.
Hot.
Now
There
you're
are
bringing
lots
out
of
the
people
feminist
in
in me.
chat saying that they stayed for all the games, Jesse.
Yeah,
Well,
but those are the same
numbers
people that would sit
clearly
3
don't
hours and
indicate
listen to us
that's
talk.
True. That is also a point. I mean, these are people who are also
True.
subscribed to my channel. That's the hardest of the hardcore.
I
Yeah.
want 8-bit cock. What do I got to do?
There's quite a bit of it on Steam, actually. Shower with Your
8-bit
Dad
cock.
Simulator was out over a year ago.
The puns are all over the place.
There's
With
a
it.
good amount of 8-bit cock in there. In fact, I think that's the whole game, actually.
8-bit cock.
I mean, there's more advanced cock if you're looking for that. Genital Jousting came out last week.
Can I tell you, I
Oh,
played
finally.
that game.
Been
and
playing that game for years, actually. Sorry, go ahead.
I expected it to be a goof. Like, I
Okay.
expected it to be like, oh, it's a little risque. You literally, the objective of many of the levels is just to fuck the other cocks.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. That's like the game. I was like,
Can I show this? We're gonna try. We're gonna fucking try.
Well, hey, if this is what gets you unpartnered,
I've
and
been
you
wa-
go
I've been
out on
watching-
This is the hill that I'm
Yeah.
gonna die on.
it's straight
genital
up
jousting.
genital jousting. Straight up, I've seen YouTubers play this on YouTube and not get banned. So like,
True, but
Yeah.
they're big YouTubers, like the YouTubers that could do horrendous things and get away with it.
that's
And
true.
I don't
However,
know
if I ever
if
post,
the
if I
fight
ever
is
posted,
large.
if I ever
YouTube
posted a video, the
is
first thing
very
I do was
great about
burn
that.
every single one of them. I'd be like, all
Oh
of
my
these other
God.
people did it.
This is
yeah, no, the
horrendous,
objective
actually.
is to bang, like literally penetrate the other player.
Oh, the dicks have butts, and
Yes.
you
Yeah.
just try to dick that butt.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
Pretty
game.
much. And then you get to do a little art display between rounds by the looks of it. This is a thing.
Satisfy up to 8 friends on the couch. Wow.
It does not.
They get hats.
It does not even like pretend to be. It has a story mode now. I am fascinated.
Oh my
I
god.
would love
You
to
can
know what the
gradually
story
grow.
mode is.
Story
as it turns
mode?
out.
What the fuck?
Yes. What is the
This-
story mode?
This doesn't count as the dark web, right? This is just
No. This is-
okay.
We're in the dark web right now.
yeah,
Jeff.
I'm
I feel
fairly
like I'm in the
sure
dark web. This is as deep as I get. with
the
the dark
scoring
web.
bit that we're
Why are
seeing
there
right here
dogs?
is just semen. It's just it's a large
Unlock
jar
police
of
officer
measured
mode.
semen.
Straight up, guys.
Well, that-
if any
that
of
was
you
the
watching
thing.
this like identify with any of this, or like you feel like this is pretty normal, now's the time.
Just own up to it.
Get help.
I'm just saying, I am fine with every aspect of this game. I was just not prepared for it to be like so in your face. I was like, oh, okay, this is what this
You
is.
thought it would
Like,
be sort of mount
I
your
assumed it was gonna
friends
be
level
goofy.
of, the swinging clothed dicks in this and there's dick physics. But no, it's far beyond that.
Yeah, I just assumed it'd be a goof. It's like a game that is like, hey, you fuck other dicks in this game. That's the plan. And
I
I'm like,
wonder how well it has sold. I'm
I
intrigued.
just picture like 6 or 7 friends on a couch laughing, saying that's such a dick move to each other, like over and over again.
I'm sure that would not get boring.
You know what's really fascinating me is everybody in chat who's saying the story mode is actually great.
Okay,
That's
I'll say
fascinating.
their word for it. Apparently, this is owned by 280,000 people,
Oh my god!
according to Steam
I don't
Spy.
doubt that.
There are legions of them.
I mean, this is what happens
buttholes.
when every big comedy Let's Play YouTuber in the universe plays the game at exactly the same time. It creates that sales singularity.
Oh my god! How did I get a thumbnail for this?
I love the opportunity for like socially, less skilled people to really stumble with this game, where they're like,
Yep.
yeah,
Incidentally,
what have you been up
Genital
to?
Jousting
I've been
is
playing
on
a lot
the
of Genital
list
Jousting. Can I be honest
of
with you? They're like,
prohibited
"Excuse me?"
games on Twitch. It is actually on the list of prohibited games. So this is the hill I will be dying on today.
We try, like, I don't know if the video is going to exist. I hope we can, like,
To
actually
be
upload
fair,
it.
we did not play it. We only watched somebody else play it. So I feel that we're okay.
I played it. I played this game. And I was in a room with 4 people who very much enjoyed it and 1 person who was, like, silent. the
Just
entire
highly
time.
uncomfortable.
They
It
were
was
the
so
butt
funny.
of the joke.
He was just like, I feel uncomfortable. I was like, ew, I bet you do. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Jesus Christ.
I enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh my god!
That's what I'm saying.
We had a good run.
Wow.
What is... Uh-oh. I need to know this.
We lost Dodger somewhere back there, by the way.
She
What?
probably
She's
muted
out.
herself.
She probably made herself. She does it a
I
lot.
didn't mute myself. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
She's like, I've had enough dick for a while, guys. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I just decided that I was done with the dick talk.
She's like, I'm 7 months pregnant.
There
I
are
know,
limits.
I know a dick or two. Okay. Come on.
I'm 9 months pregnant. I'm having the baby right now. Can you just give me a minute?
That would
Can-
be
can you
the most
just
amazing co-op.
Get it over with so we can get back to the show.
Jesse's helping
Jesus.
with breathing. John's just cheering for you. I'm completely uncomfortable and just permanently frozen.
Just
be
get
so
on with
great.
it. We have a show to do.
Mm.
Christ.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else have we been playing this week?
I played that stage fright game.
You got around to playing that one. Okay.
Yeah,
Not good?
there's such a good concept there, but it's extremely confusing. So like the actual playing of the game is not confusing, but I don't know if it's just set up wrong or what. I spent a really long time in this game. Basically, you play the game with SDF and JKL, and you like try to follow. It's a rhythm game, so you're trying to like play the
Oh.
piano, right?
I'm trying to find footage of this that doesn't have someone's stupid fucking face cam on it.
Like-
Stupid
like
face
me?
cam people.
Wow, someone even did a reaction to the trailer for it. You are gonna go far.
So the concept of this game is that you are playing the piano, but as you mess up, like as you make mistakes, you allow anxiety to kind of overwhelm you, and there is a ghost that keeps visiting you and making things even worse. So like if you mess up a couple of times, suddenly things will start to get like shaky, or every now and then the entire thing will like flip over for a second. Like it does a lot of stuff to try and throw
Mess
you.
with you, yeah.
And it gets worse and worse and worse. Like if it works and you're like, fuck, I don't even know where I'm at anymore, it'll just get really, really bad, right? So I don't know if they've updated this game since I played it, but when I played it, there were, I think, 4 stages. I wasn't able to beat the second stage, but they let me keep going. Basically, if you get a good enough score, then you see more, but they're, you still get the same kind of an idea, if that makes any sense. You're trying to unravel what's going on with this ghost and who this ghost is, right? And when I hit the last one, it took me forever to be able to beat it. And I was like, all right, we beat it. That's the last one. Let's find out what's going on with this ghost. I hit the next button and it restarted the song. And I was like, okay. So I played through the whole song again, beat it again, and hit next. And it started the song back over again. And I was like, what's happening? Is this like a bug? But everybody on the Steam pages was saying, no, at that point, the game just repeats over and over and over and over again, and you don't get an ending.
What?
That sounds brilliant.
The other thing that was really, really frustrating, like constantly frustrating to me, was that I knew that I was hitting the right buttons, but it would pop up with like misses. You know, it would be like, oh, you missed one.
So it's not properly in sync, or maybe it was doing that on purpose.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I can't tell if it's doing it on purpose or not. And people were like, annoying. Well, it should be, you know, based on whether or not you lost your streak, right? So if you lost your streak, then that's definitely a problem with the game, right? Because if they were just trying to make you think that you hit the wrong note, then they shouldn't take away your streak, because that affects your final score and whether or not you see something at the end, you know, which would be fucked up. So sometimes when the misses showed up, didn't lose my streak. Sometimes when the misses showed up, lost my streak. I was like, I don't understand what's happening in this game. So I was agonizing for a really long time over whether or not the game was doing it on purpose.
This might be a thing too, because I wanted to see what the comments are, the thoughts were, anything on this game. There's literally one comment in the Steam section, one. And the reviews, one guy wrote, there's one mechanic in particular that makes this game unplayable, in my opinion, where you successfully play a note. However, an echo of the note you have played remains, then plummets off the board, causing you to have a miss. So maybe that's something, maybe that's what you're talking about? Like, yeah. That's insane. Okay.
Overall, it sounds like you lot spent a lot of time so far playing really shitty games.
Yeah, well, you have to sometimes test out stuff.
The concept of the game is super cool, though. I think, well, like
that's what I associate with super cool. But then again, I have been on a metal boat with most of the European bands for 4 days, so
you know what I'm saying, though. Like the idea
it's a cool
of
idea.
A rhythm game where once you mess up, it's a slippery slope of like anxiety for the character just overwhelming them, and sort of being consumed by this specter that just shows up and fucks with you and makes you see weird stuff. I thought that was such a cool idea, because there's much higher stakes to not hit the wrong notes ever, right? But there were also, I realized very quickly, there were also ways to kind of game the system. Like, as long as you were mostly hitting the right notes, it wouldn't fail you. So if I like started to panic and just hit all of the notes at the same time, I could mostly make it through, which I don't think is how it should be. But overall, I think
it's crap.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really cool concept that needed to be executed better.
Yes.
So I was bummed.
That's a shame. Never mind. Maybe someone's played a game where the concept was executed properly.
Yeah.
We're 2 for 2 so far on bullshit.
Well, you know what? That's why I'm here. I got no 8-bit boobies for you, and I didn't play a game that is broken and unplayable.
Then what good are you, Jeff?
Yeah, what did you even do this week?
I'm getting to that. Exactly, my selling point. I've been playing a lot of Total War Warhammer 2.
Yeah.
I assume you guys have talked a little bit about it at least. But
we mentioned it last week, yeah.
Every time they do a really good job, I feel, of every one of their expansions, because I think the game could very easily fall into the trap of this army is a mirror image of that army, only reskinned, or something along those lines. But I think intelligently they've realized all along the way, even back to Total War Warhammer 1, that would not be a successful business plan. So every race that comes out is very unique. They start in a very different part of the map, so it has a very different feel there. They plug into the the grand campaign itself as well. So it hits you on all fronts. For like the hardcore Total War people, you can play this other race amongst the other 15 or 16 or whatever in a gigantic campaign, or you can just do the story mission, which is kind of what I end up doing. And this last one was Tomb Kings, and right off the bat, they do exactly what I love Total War Warhammer 4. It's a very thematic. It makes you feel like a badass when you're playing, like whatever. You're just like riding in a battle with a giant scorpion and shit like that, and you're just like, this is so cool. But my problem, I guess it's not even a problem. I think it's more of a personal opinion, because I think people could lose a month in one of these games and enjoy it very happily. I can really only play them each stint for like 3 or 4 days, maybe a week, before I kind of get to the point where I'm like, because most of the campaigns get to a stage where I'm auto-resolving more fights.
Yeah.
The effect of, wow, this is so badass, I really enjoyed it, and it's worth the cost of the game for that. But the effect of that doesn't carry through. Like, once you hit the top tier tech and you've discovered your big monster and you've got your hero maxed out for the most part, you got about a few hours of really enjoying that. But most campaigns are like, oh, no, not a few hours. You have like 45 more hours to go. And you're like, but I've got all the cool stuff. And they're like, I know. And now random weird ass army is going to come back in on your 16th castle and knock that down. And you're going to have to walk for 3 days to go destroy that.
Yeah.
Before then also completing the campaign on the other side of the map against really bad armies that aren't that big of a deal, but just take a long time to kill. That's been my experience.
That's every Total War game in my experience, honestly. That's the big thing they tried their best to fix in Warhammer 2 by putting a timer on the campaign with the Maelstrom mechanic, by saying, right, look, it's not a case of, oh, you've basically won, so you might as well just quit. It's like, well, no, you haven't won, because if somebody finishes the Maelstrom thing before you do, then they won. So it's good that they put a clock on it. But regardless of that, you still have a campaign that, in terms of pace, in terms of enjoyment, does fizzle towards the end.
Yeah.
And it happens in every Total War game. They're getting better at fixing that.
Yeah.
But they're not there yet.
Every experience I've had is very similar to that, but also the beginning as well. You can either have an incredible beginning or one in which nothing you do can ever possibly work out. Like, I was playing the like big fat lizard toad guy the other day, and it's like easy mode, super
Thick
easy.
boy.
I was like, yeah, I guess I'll learn how to play these guys. Straight up, no matter what I did, someone was coming for me at all times. And I was like, okay, so if I go this way, someone comes this way. I'm like, all right, well, I'll reload and I'll go this way. Someone comes this way. I was like, what is my plan here? What do I do? I just had no clue. Yeah, it was rough, but whatever. I moved on to Tomb Kings. I was like, fuck it. Fuck lizard people. I'm out.
Yeah, it's and there's always people, whenever I share this opinion, they're vehemently like, no, I absolutely enjoy it. You have to, get really immersed. You need to up the difficulty. So there are answers for it, and I agree with John that they are getting a lot better about it. So that's why I want to make it very clear that when I say this, I feel like there are people that are rational and they're not playing Photo Finish or Flash that could enjoy this for a lot longer. It doesn't have to just be that I feel like it does mega fizzle out, but from my personal experience, it really does. And I think that's a little bit, it's for everything we just discussed, but also it's just like, it's kind of the game itself. I didn't grow up playing the Total War games, so I don't have the history of Rome and all these games where I feel like a lot of people I talk to, they're like, I've been playing Total War games for, I believe it's 27 years now. 27, is it?
3 years.
Since the dawn of the age of the computer. And I'm like, well, okay, shit. I just came in with Total War Warhammer because, I respect them, but I came in because of the Warhammer, and I've been loving it. Another funny side effect, by the way, I have no interest in the tabletop Age of Sigmar or Warhammer Classic, but this game tugs at my heartstrings. They do a really good job of showing off the models and making them look fucking cool. So the one that really did it for me was the Vampire Counts. God damn, is that a cool looking army.
Yeah, and Tomb Kings was another great example of that aesthetically, with the really cool sort of stone colossi and things like that. And the fucking War Sphinx, oh god, that's so cool. just
I love like the
rampaging
energy
around.
in between the plating on it, so it shows it's a construct, it's being upright through magical means. Really cool. Great art style.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they could ever truly fix the fizzles out towards the end problem, because Total War is essentially the battles. And if you get tired of the battles, or the battles become so imbalanced that you feel like you want to auto-resolve, then at that point, you might as well not be playing the game anymore, because the rest of the game is actually not that much. It's quite simplistic. The empire-building aspect.
They even let you auto-resolve in that game.
If they didn't,
have to.
People would riot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of battles where you're running into something that can't possibly beat you, but it's going to take 10 minutes to chase it down and kill it anyway, which is a gigantic waste of frustrating time.
Do your thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And there's even some cases where auto-resolving is a better way to do things, because, like, I know I can win this fight, but it's going to be a pain in the dick because of certain things they have. Auto-resolve is telling me that I could do this for probably far less losses than I will actually take, fucking up, getting frustrated, overcoming all of these fortifications and shit. So you know what? I'm just going to hit auto-resolve, because that avoids that frustrating battle. But then you realize, well, the battles are the mainstay of the gameplay, so I'm skipping the mainstay of the gameplay.
Right.
And since it's kind of up to them, I guess, to get to the point where you don't want to auto-resolve, where you want to go and do everything yourself, and those battles actually continue to be fun, which is going to be tricky. It's probably going to require yet more improvements in AI, particularly, so that, little armies could still be dangerous to you. They could still, say, raid a important unit of yours and do more damage, or assassinate a leader or something like that. It's tricky. It's a difficult thing to solve, and it's a problem that every Total War game has.
Yeah.
But it's fun, for the most part.
They also, I guess, to answer your question a little bit too, Dodger, like, part of, generally speaking, auto-resolves cost you more than they do cost you less. So, like, it encourages you to do the battles, which does, I think, keep you in the game. But I think it's very smart to keep to have auto-resolve, because you would, a long campaign is like 70 hours. And towards the end of it, 25 of that, and I'm not even exaggerating, and people in chat, you can call me an idiot if you want or whatever, 25 hours of that 70 is predetermined. It's you got the mega army, you've got your castle secure, you're literally just running down the final objectives.
Right. Gotcha.
True that. Mostly good, though, and mostly good is good enough for a lot of people. Still a lot of fun to be had there.
Mean, like, whether or not you feel like you got your money's worth by the time it fizzles out for you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the question that you have to answer personally.
I don't know how many people have actually finished a campaign in Total War. I haven't, I don't think. I've got to the point where I know I would win if I continued another 10 hours, but I couldn't be bothered to wipe everything off the map.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that. What else? People?
Yeah.
That game.
Absolutely.
Played it 6 times.
It's great.
I beat Celeste. Well,
yes.
I beat like the story of
That's
Celeste.
a big one, right?
I didn't
That's a
100% it.
difficult one, I have been told.
Oh my gosh, that game was absolutely fantastic. It's by the people who made Towerfall, and it's a platformer. So I was like, this is a game that I want. This is going to be great. I'm going to really enjoy this, even if just the mechanics, like if it's the same people making it, I know that I'll like the way it feels. Which I did. If you like the way that Towerfall feels, it has the same kind of a movement. But that game was so dang good. I was really, really pleased with it. We talked about it a little bit last week, but I don't think that I had beaten it yet. And now that I've beaten it, I'm like, what a great game. It offers like extra conflict is not the word that I'm looking for. If you want it to be harder,
challenge,
if you want to do more, it offers a lot of stuff for you to do. Every level has what's called a B-side, which I think I haven't looked at them yet, but I think somebody was telling me it's the exact level but flipped. So it's like just backwards, and people are like, this is the hardest shit I've ever done in my life. So I haven't tried any of that, but just like the base game itself is so good. It was the perfect amount of difficulty for me to never really feel super frustrated. And the way that every zone had just like a slightly different mechanic for you to learn. Like the whole concept is that you're a girl who's trying to climb a mountain called Celeste Mountain, right? And so the actions of you climbing, those are always the same. Like those movements are always the same, but there are in each area little elements that you have to learn for that zone. And I thought that it kept it really fresh. You had to think about every area differently, and I liked it. It was never frustrating or just like, God, why are you putting more shit into this game, right? It was always just something new. And I thought that it worked with like the concept of each area. It was just a really beautiful, lovely game.
Why do you think games like this, they tend to do really well on Twitch? I find like it's an indie game, low res, 8-bit for the most part or whatever, but it like went pseudo viral in the sense that everyone was playing it for a little while.
Right. I think
difficulty's probably got a lot to do with it.
People always love watching somebody play a difficult game. But they also, at least for my community, they love watching games that have a lot of heart to them, and this game had both. It's like about this girl who wants to climb the mountain because she needs to achieve something. She's like really depressed and is trying to like confront herself basically. So that with the art style and that kind of a concept to the game combined with it being difficult, I think that it was just a good viewing experience for a lot of people, and it didn't take that long to beat it. So yeah, and the B-sides apparently make people literally just fucking want to crush a controller. So I won't be doing those on stream, but but yeah, the controls are just really nice. They're very satisfying for somebody to play. I think it makes it feel really fair,
Yeah, I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. It's a platformer, but
yeah,
it does seem like it's probably one of the best platformers we've had since Meat Boy, by the sounds of it. Like, it seems to have captured a lot of people's imagination as, yeah, this is the feeling I got while playing Meat Boy. It's that damn satisfying, and that's cool that they managed to pull that off.
Yeah. It felt very, I know that this game never became super big, but it felt very Beyblade Pixels to me as well.
Yeah. And that's a shame that game didn't get super big because it was fucking great.
That game was great, yeah.
That was a very enjoyable game. The combat aspect of it in particular, being able to punch horrible monsters into spikes with powerful uppercuts. It's hard to find that boring.
Yeah.
And the platforming aspect was there, but it wasn't at front and center of the gameplay, It's like, I don't mind a bit of platforming, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I
like when games are infusing bigger meaning as well, like you were talking about depression and finding yourself and that kind of thing. There's a few games that have done that in the past, and I think it's cool that, it makes sense. Games are branching off. There's a game for everything, for fuck's sakes.
Totally.
Jesse was looking for naked women earlier this week, even in the 8-bit land. But
yeah, that's a very new thing when it comes to gaming, I'm told.
Yeah, naked ladies are new.
Yeah, they haven't been doing that at all. PlayStation's never done it.
No,
But I find that really cool. I like that is and I know that it would happen. I like that it's successful is I guess the point I'm trying to make.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah, that it's done in a way where people connect with it, I think is very cool. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with that game. I would honestly love to go back through. There are like collectibles and stuff hidden in the game as well, and part of me would love to just replay the whole thing and see if I can get the collectibles. Like that's how much I enjoyed it, which I think is saying a lot.
Which there are a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't play too many games this week because I was on the boat instead, so that wasn't
Right.
really my priority. But I did play a lot of Meteorfall and finally beat the fucking thing. Took me about 12 hours to have
I'm
a
impressed
successful
that you
run.
beat it.
Yeah, that
Which class did you play?
Grey beater. So I played the wizard. He got me through. That game is a dick in many ways. Like it's mostly down to the fact that you have some control over what happens through the deck building aspect and removing certain cards from your deck, but a lot of it is RNG. Like it's whatever card came off the top of the deck, and you can get completely fucked through a variety of random means. You could say die because you drew 4 meditation cards when what you needed was damage to kill the thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, is that your fault for not removing the meditation cards from the deck? Well, one, you kind of needed them, at least early on in the game. And secondly, you may not have even encountered a temple to remove one of them, let alone 4, by that point.
Yeah.
The way that the events are set up is random in the sense that you could draw an event and you get to choose between one of the 2 events. It's like, oh, it's blacksmith and shop. Cool. I'll spend all my money at the blacksmith. Then the next one is blacksmith and shop again. And it's like, great, I can't do anything because I have no money now. Or maybe you just desperately need health at one point and just not giving you a rest spot. Again, you can get screwed in a horrendous way. And a lot of it really comes down to the fact that in a lot of deck builders, you draw a hand of cards and you can do things with that hand of cards and you can make different decisions with them. In this, you draw 1 card at a time and you either use that card or you skip that card to gain stamina back, which is really only relevant for the 2 stamina-based classes in the game. The other 2 classes are magic charge-based, which really have very little to do with stamina. You'll almost never need to use it, which also means that when you level up and you get a choice between stamina and health, if you're playing either of those 2 classes, the choice is obvious. You're going to pick health.
Yeah, the cleric-y girl, right? Is who you're talking about.
She
I've
very
played her
rarely
quite
needs
a bit,
stamina.
and I run into the issue all the time where I get meditation card, healing card, meditation card. Your turn's over, and I'm like, I didn't even need to heal.
Yep, I needed damage. I mean, some of them have some mitigation. Like with meditation in particular, if you have no spells that are lacking a charge, it does give you another turn. And that's fine, but a lot of the times you will have 1 card that needs a charge, but it's like, you know what? I didn't need to do that right now. Actually, what I need to do was to draw the card, which would let me do enough damage to kill this monster before it kills me on the next turn. And I haven't done that, so I'm dead. And it does definitely feel like a lot of the runs are out of your control. I've had some runs where it's like, wow, this deck is incredible. I don't see how I could possibly lose. And then I had 2 turns of just terrible draws. Like, they were good cards, but they were in completely the wrong order to be of any use at all, and then just died. Thankfully, the game is short. That's the only way it gets away with it. Incidentally, by the way, I'm switching over to the video feed so we can watch the fucking Falcon Heavy hopefully not explode in the next 20 seconds. So we're going to leave that on for the time being. Since I've already shown Genital Jousting on Twitch, what else could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, okay.
So there we go. So the Falcon Heavy is currently on, and hopefully it will not explode, and we wish them the best of luck. Regardless of that, Meteorfall is still a lot of fun for $3.
Oh gosh, I'm watching it.
Yep, now it is
$3.
taking off. 2, 1, ignition, please don't explode. Please
usher. 10-second delay!
Please usher in the next stage of human space exploration. It's not exploded yet.
This, by the way, spoiler
It's
alert.
still going. That is a very good thing. It's still going. It's not. Nothing's gone wrong yet. Please, for the love of God. What a fucking magnificent machine. Holy shit. It has 27 fucking engines. That is just insane to me.
Go, buddy, go.
It's doing it. It's fucking doing it. It's not exploded yet. This is good. But yeah, $3 Meteorfall. Definitely worth it. I'm waiting for them to add new cards into it. Add some more events into it.
Are they going to?
Yeah, he said he's going to balance out some of those events problems as well. Like getting the same event 2 times in a row, or getting an event at a point where you couldn't possibly use it. Like shop and blacksmith when you have 2 coins, which couldn't possibly do anything. So, yeah, he's going to do that, and then he's going to add more cards and content. And he says what he really wants to add is more characters, which to me is where you're going to get the replay value from. But hey, I spent $3. I had 12 hours of fun. Yes, it was in some cases frustrating, but I think it was a fucking cool game. It's no Slay the Spire. You know, if you want something complex, it is not that. Is that fire supposed to be there? I hope so. Yeah, I think that fire's supposed to be there. Okay, that's good. That's a lot of fire. That's a scary amount of fire.
Yeah, I still, when I'm not really doing anything or waiting for something to happen, I still just sit and play Slay the Spire.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that game, but it's just so satisfying to leave up and just play a couple rounds and then minimize it and keep doing whatever I needed to do.
Absolutely. And I want more alternatives to that on mobile, honestly. It's ideal.
Yeah.
Mobile is the ideal fucking platform for a game like that, without question.
Right.
Keep going, buddy.
There's so much fire.
That is a very scary looking fireball, but please, for the love of God, it's supposed to do that, right? 40 kilometers up already. Jesus Christ. It's about to hit 5,000 kilometers an hour. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Booster engine cut off very soon.
Come on, Blee.
And there's a car on that thing. There's a fucking car on that thing.
There's a Tesla on that.
Yep, the car is going to Mars. All right, there. One of the boosters went off that way and didn't hit the rocket. That's a good thing.
This thing goes to Mars?
Yeah, they're aiming it at Mars.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yep,
And
they're
Elon
shooting it
Musk
straight at
regressed.
Mars.
Man.
It's mostly they're testing the rockets, landing them, right? Like that's the whole point.
Well,
to
not with
bring them
this
back
one. This
down.
is the first ever test flight of the Falcon Heavy, which they're not getting this one back.
Yeah.
Like,
They're not getting
they're
the
aiming this.
boosters back. I thought
They're
that
not
the
getting
goal
this
was to
one
land
back.
them.
I think the boosters they might be trying to get back, but they're not
Yeah, the
getting everything
boosters-
else back.
They're supposed
Yeah,
to
one
fall.
is landing in Cape Canaveral, one's landing in the ocean, I guess, on little platforms, I think
Yeah.
is the whole point. And it's supposed to cut down on satellite costs or some shit.
Oh, well, I
guess
mean,
is
the Falcon 9's already been doing that, like, very successfully. This one is supposed to be, hey, we can lift more than
look at
anything.
him!
It's in space.
Oh, good
It's in
job.
space and
So-
hasn't exploded. I think we're good.
It takes like a month to get to Mars, though, doesn't it?
Apparently, this can do it in 6 months. It would have usually taken a year, which is nuts. That's crazy to think about.
We can chop that down. And
But
also,
then there's
build-
gonna be a car on Mars. So
Yep.
when Matt Damon gets stuck up there,
He'll just be
Yeah.
able to get the car.
he's just gonna drive around.
Think about it. Think
Shit.
about the speed of that stupid rover and the Martian, and think about the speed of a Tesla. You know, which is going to do better? Obviously, the Tesla.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Are we sending a car to Mars?
Yeah,
because
there's the
it's
car.
self-driving?
There's the car right there.
Right. But
I don't
is
think
it
it's
because
gonna.
it's
No, I don't
self-driving?
think it'll survive the landing. I'd be surprised if it did. Oh, I love it.
Curious if
They
there's a
fucking put
reason to
"Don't
send it
panic"
to
on
Mars.
it. I love it. Oh my god.
God,
That's
there's
crazy.
actually a car there.
Yep, there is. Well, it's
These
it
bastards.
didn't explode. I think that's pretty good. All right, well, we'll turn that off now. But that was pretty cool. Everybody is cheering now, so I guess it's doing what it's supposed to do.
I like those guys looking back at the camera like, we did, guys, we did it.
Guys, we didn't
It's
blow it up.
flying.
We
Okay,
did not
we're
blow it
cheering
up.
now, yeah.
They're so happy. Oh.
Can't believe we sent a car, though. That's really weird.
Well, what else were they going to put on it? It's like no one else would trust you to put. Well, yeah, but just put our satellite on your completely untested rocket. That'll be just fine.
You know what really bums me out is those images that show how many satellites are around the Earth.
Oh, the space junk kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, don't look up the images of just random trash around the earth. That will horrify you even more.
Oh yeah, eventually that will
God.
probably become a major problem.
We're gonna blot out the sun.
I don't think that'll happen, but
There's
We're
a
gonna
there's
blot
a
out the sun!
we'll fight in the shade.
My daughter will live in a world of only shade.
I'm just
Trust
saying,
me, I'm going to
just
make sure
saying.
she lives in a world of only shade anyway.
With your guys' skin
Just like
complexion,
her
Dodger,
mother.
that might be for the best.
Oh,
Damn.
Jesus.
Wow.
Got him.
All right, we got 10 minutes for the break. What do you got game-wise? Throw it at me.
You guys already talked about it, but I also played They Are Billions.
Yeah, talk to me
It was
about
so
that,
fun.
because as a professional player of strategy video games,
Yeah.
I would be very curious to know what you think about it.
I tend to avoid games that it seems like the mechanic is just to piss you off, like it's just to, like, I got you, and that's what it does over and over again. I got you again.
Yeah.
I got you. The whole game's kind of built around that, but to use your phrase you've been using this episode, at least, they kind of get away with it in a sense that
Okay.
I feel like it's well designed enough that while that is hugely there, you almost always, at least when I played, felt like it was my fault. So like if a zombie just shambled towards a fucking farm and tagged it, and then that was just the end of that run. A lot of times there was the initial like, that's bullshit. Come on. And there's definitely been a few times where I had like a ranger or somebody running in place when I would have liked if they would have just been shooting at the zombie.
Yeah, it would have
that
been
then
nice.
kills me.
The pathfinding is a bit dodgy in that game.
A bit, I would say. But I feel like it's fairly redeeming in that it's like sound design's really good. The aesthetic is cool. It's not a perfect game by any means, but I enjoyed like the different classes, and it was just solid enough that I enjoyed my time with it, and I liked it. It didn't toke the like. So some games like XCOM really get under my skin, and I have a tough time beating it. But the struggle to beat it feels like it's very much so a challenge that's within my control, and I want to beat it. With They Are Billions, I didn't have that drive as much. I was like, I'm playing this, I'm enjoying it. I didn't end up beating it, and I was like, I'm not really motivated to beat it because it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a huge accomplishment to do that. It feels more like you kind of put enough time in to whittle down the combo, and then you pulled off the combo.
So you're not going to become one of those streamers who are like, I turn it up to 500% difficulty and play it with one hand tied behind my back using a DDR controller.
Look, that shit is fun to watch.
No, but yeah, exactly what the Dodger said. It's crazy though, because I think for a while I was just watching. I got into it late, and when I saw the 500% no pause thing, I was like, I don't know, this doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. Then I played it, and I was like, those guys are fucking gods. They're incredible.
Speaking of fucking gods, they just landed the boosters, by the way.
Awesome.
Fucking impressive. Wow. Very cool. Yeah, I don't know about... There's something about There Are Billions that just didn't click with me.
Yeah.
And it's mostly now, I think, that the game's half tower defense and it's half city building, and it's half-assed in both.
Yeah.
To the point where the combination of the two doesn't make it more than the sum of its parts to me. It's like, if I wanted to play a game like that, and admittedly it would involve a second person, but I would play StarCraft 2 co-op, you know?
Right.
It's like, that is just better. There's a lot more there. And when it comes to the city building aspect, the production chains aren't very complicated, and the most important resource in that game is space. It's not really anything else. You know, all that really matters is space, so that you can fit as much shit in your base as possible. And a lot of it is just slap down a thing and it generates a thing. And I think that was with things like farms. I mean, that's a good example. You just slap the farm down and that's food. Okay, cool. But like, there's no requirement. You know, there's nothing else that is required there. You know, I love games like The Settlers, for instance, where making bread requires certain other resources, you know? There's a really satisfying production chain going on there. Which...
God, I hate really complicated production chains.
I love them in my city builders. of which There Are Billions is a bit of a city builder. It has that aspect to it, but it's very simplified in that respect. So, to me, it's half of one thing, half of another, and neither of them are particularly great, in my opinion.
I liked that. I agree with you on all accounts. It was challenging enough, and it was well designed enough that I enjoyed it. But like I said, it's not going to grab me for a long time. But there were some pitfalls that are stupid, and I think because I'm in too close proximity to having played Brood War recently, that I'm over the this is stupid because it's stupid thing, where like some of your guys will waste you'll set them to auto mine zombies and they're doing totally fine. Then you add like a cliff ledge that really fucks up their AI, and all of a sudden they walk face first into like 6 zombies.
Yeah.
And if you're scrolled back and that's on your screen, there's no notification at all. Not on the mini map, no sound cue, nothing. Right. And I get it. There's different pressure points, so it kind of tugs you back and forth. But stupid to be stupid is really rough on my patience. Like if it happens too many times in a row, I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to play this game today. And I don't know if that's a great game mechanic where a game like basically pushes you out.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd rather play Stronghold or go all the way back to Stronghold Crusader or Stronghold Crusader HD. Like, they're better town defense games because they were designed from the ground up for that. They're excellent siege games. The mechanics of putting stuff on the walls and using flaming arrows and pitch and traps, fucking fantastic. Yeah. Having a huge army attack a really well-designed castle in that game is one of the most satisfying defense or offense scenarios that I can think of in a game like that. And I don't think They Are Billions is a better game than Stronghold. I don't think it's close to being as good as Stronghold. So I'm not sure, really. I think maybe it just comes down to the fact that we haven't had a game like this in ages, and that's good enough for a lot of people. But I'd recommend to anybody that likes They Are Billions, go and play Stronghold Crusader HD. You'll probably like it more, because it's better in both the city building aspect. Obviously, it has a campaign, whereas They Are Billions doesn't yet, because it's an early access. And also the attack and defense aspect is better as well. There's all sorts of really cool shit in that. So play that game. That'll be my recommendation. Let's take a break. When we come back, more of the games that we've been playing this week. You're watching the Co-optional Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Dear Squarespace, we here at Co-optional wish to lodge an official complaint regarding your recent Super Bowl ad. Now, Squarespace has been a wonderful supporter of the show over the last few years. They've enabled us to do things that we never thought possible, such as making a sizable chunk of money from 3 hours of poorly prepared rambling, which is occasionally about video games. They've given us an aura of legitimacy when really we're just 3 idiots and a guest with webcams and a dream. However, this time they have gone too far. Squarespace, how are we supposed to compete with Keanu Reeves and his custom motorcycle company? This ad cost you millions of dollars and simply but effectively explains how to set up a beautiful looking website in just minutes. It shows you that choosing a domain has no complicated setup or hidden fees. It effectively demonstrates the hundreds of wonderful, professionally designed templates to choose from, suitable for practically any site you can imagine. He has a motorcycle company. For the last couple of years, we've been telling people about using it as a blog, a photo gallery, a way to promote music, sell concert tickets, or awesome homemade jewelry. He has a motorcycle company. He even set his own hand on fire for no practical reason. How is that demonstrating the functionality of Squarespace that you can indeed try for free, along with 10% off your first order at squarespace.com/cooptional? What's his referral link? Squarespace.com/lookatme, I'm Keanu Reeves, I'm so awesome you can't possibly compete with that? I bet he even owns a .dog domain, just because he can. After all, you do sell them, and many others that we didn't even know existed. Look, we know it's the Super Bowl, and you really got to pull out all the stops, but Squarespace and Keanu Reeves, seriously, you're making us all look bad. We've been trying our best, coming up with new ads every month, trying to desperately tie gaming, current events, and obscure references to our show in creative, but more often than not off-the-wall ridiculous ads for your wonderful service, but we can't just go around burning MacBooks and setting ourselves on fire like that. Squarespace, we love you. We truly do. And we think that anyone that visits squarespace.com/cooptional will love it too. But come on, our egos are fragile enough over here that not even your award-winning 24/7 support could put them back together. See how many references to your company's features we're cramming in here just to try and compete? Keanu's face was in the sky. We've got nothing. Squarespace, create your own professional-looking, beautiful website with absolutely no experience required. Whether you're looking for a website for your custom motorcycle company or something a little bit more down to earth, Squarespace is the perfect place to make it. Now, if you'll excuse me, we've got to deal with the fact that we'll never be as cool as Keanu Reeves or get to star in a Super Bowl ad for Squarespace. Given time, the healing process can truly begin. Also, seriously, we are a bargain compared to him, so please keep sponsoring us. If we ever want to realize our dream of burning a MacBook, you'll have to help us make it. Squarespace, make it, to some extent. You'll never be that cool. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-optional Podcast. Yes.
Now this podcast is blessed.
It is. By what? Exactly.
By my dab. Oh, you missed it. By nothing. Nothing happened.
Okay. Cool. I mean, it's for the best
I
that we
didn't do anything.
keep it that way, I think.
Nothing happened.
Good.
Oof.
That's how it will stay
Great.
forever. Video games, what you got? Please tell me you got something, because this will be a short show otherwise.
Huh?
Please tell me you got something, because this is going to be a short show otherwise. I was on a fucking boat. I've got a good excuse. You do not.
What's your excuse, Dodger?
I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter, and I figured nobody wanted to talk about it anymore. That's my excuse.
I think we do, actually.
Okay, cool.
That would be
I've been
pretty
playing a
good,
lot of
if
Monster
you could.
Hunter. I am in that stage mentally where I just want to make every single piece of armor. And Sam, who is Hunter rank 65 or something crazy. Yeah, I'm rank 9, 8 or 9.
Glad to see he waited for
What?
his spouse, before venturing onwards.
Oh, I would feel very uncomfortable if he didn't go ham on a Monster Hunter game. Just for me, I'd be like, please.
Oh, no. I misunderstood. I thought you meant like overall from everyone playing. He's
Oh,
ranked 65.
no. It's like your level.
Yeah,
in
your
the-
level.
Yeah.
I got you.
So yeah, Sam's like crazy, just far off.
You could have stopped. You could have stopped there. You could have stopped there.
He's
Sam's
crazy.
Sam is crazy. Period. That we would have
He's-
understood.
He's always loved. Like one of the first games when we started dating that he was like, have you ever played this? Was Monster Hunter. He's obsessed with that franchise. So when this game came out, I was like, all right, I'm gonna lose him for a while, and that's fine. Like he needs this. So yeah, he and I have been every night like playing solo next to each other on the couch, and it's super fun.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When did you go to bed last night?
I
stone.
fell asleep on the couch at 1 a.m.
Okay. When did Sam go to sleep last night?
Sam was in a lot of pain, so he couldn't sleep, so he was up until like 4:30 or something.
I just following the tweet tree of like your evening. I was like, I don't know that Sam sleeps. I don't know he ever closes his eyes ever.
It's a British thing.
Yeah, it must be. It must be a British thing.
The English don't need much sleep. Yeah, so that's how we've been spending our evenings, and it's been super
It's
fun.
romantic. It's beautiful.
But now that I'm in the mental zone where I'm like, I want to make every piece of armor, the SOS system has been super awesome in that game. Anytime I'm like, man, I just need to farm one more of this goddamn monster, you can go into the SOS system and be like, who needs help with this right now? Ah, sick. This person, I'll join on that quest. And most of the time the monster's like half dead, and you just show up and you're like, hey, if you're me and you've got dual blades, hey, and then you get the thing you need and you leave, and it's so nice. The SOS system I think is amazing. Like I've used it a few times in my own quests, but like answering SOSs to help farm is really, really convenient.
I couldn't tell you what that was like. Every time I try to help anyone, I either get a code 5038FMW1 or error code 503082MW1. No clue what those mean. I've done everything that they tell me to do online. I can't get to anyone. Meanwhile, I can connect to Invicta.
Problem.
I couldn't tell you. I can connect to like my friends. Anytime I try to connect to anyone who's not my friend, I get an error code. Couldn't tell you why. Don't have a clue.
I've only played the game at our house, and we have Type 2, and we've been okay.
Oh, well, I only have a PS4 here, so
right.
I assume it's the Office ? I don't know.
I assume it's the Type 3 internet. Yeah, it keeps me from doing a lot of multiplayer stuff on console. Unfortunately, yeah.
What is Type? I'm gonna be the idiot. What's a Type 3 and Type 2 internet?
I don't know. I actually don't know the difference between that either. So by all means, let's learn.
The NAT types. There's Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3, and it has to do with whether or not, like how much your internet is restricting outside interaction. So we have Type 3 here because we have so many YouTubers and streamers that they wanted to make sure they got a type of internet that was going to protect us, like keep us as protected as possible just naturally. But unfortunately, it means that multiplayer stuff on console is really difficult. So it's a thing that we've struggled with a lot. Sam worked really hard because Sam does so much multiplayer stuff and he plays on console all the time. Sam figured out how to get it all fixed in his room, but anytime I try to fix it, I can't get it to work right. It's very fiddly. Most people, if you just have like normal ass internet at home, you probably have type 2. Type 1 is like anybody can get in and out of there doing whatever they want. And type 2 is like, there's some restrictions here just for like the normal person who doesn't want their shit messed with, right? So
thank you.
Yeah. So we have type 3 internet here, and it makes it so that pretty much anytime you want to do something on a Nintendo system or a PlayStation system, it's like a nightmare trying to play with other people.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just that. We had issues with Terraria back in the day when Jesse was trying to do that. That's why we actually set up a server, because we could never just connect peer-to-peer to each other because of NAT issues. It's a giant pain in the dick is what it is. Networking is a pain in the dick. There's no other way around it, and that's why people that learn networking, you have a bright future ahead of you. Let me put it that way. There's good money in that.
It
People
just doesn't make sense.
Saying that there's no such thing as NAT types. All I know, chat, is that when it says type 3, I can't do shit. When it says type 2, I'm fine. That's all that I know. So don't grill me.
I don't understand any of it. All I know is that the friends on my friends list for PlayStation works fine. Anyone else, if I try to help anyone or try, like, it will not work. And I cannot explain why. I couldn't tell you why. I just know that it has really ruined the game for me in a lot of ways.
That's crazy. So, like,
you should try taking it home.
As a YouTuber, Jesse, you're only able to help your friends, but everybody else that you try to help, you just can't.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just reality. That's the situation. But I want that to be the situation in everything but Monster Hunter.
Genius answer from chat. It sounds like there's a problem with the NAT. Really? Fucking really. Thanks, Dell support or whatever the fuck you are. Jesus Christ. Welcome to Comcast. Sounds like there's a problem with your modem. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
No, I never thought.
She's really good at this.
I never thought to do that.
Yeah. Networking is really straightforward. Absolutely.
But yeah, if you are able to use SOS, and it breaks my heart that Jesse can't, and I think that you should really take your PlayStation so that you can get the full Monster Hunter experience. But the SOS system is really, really nice for just like not feeling like you have to just do the full grind every time. You can just meet up with people who need help, right? People who are like, I've literally died twice. I've only got one death left. I need people to help me with this. And you're like, I need a scale, so I'm gonna totally help you with this thing. It's
counterpoint. That sounds really lame to me.
That's fine.
Doesn't it take away from the sense of accomplishment, or doesn't it? Do you fall into the loop of like just answering SOSs and getting exactly what you need all the time and coming into half the battle?
That sounds pretty good.
The game still gives you like your assigned major quests and your optional quests, which I have done every optional quest available to me because look, when Buff Canteen Cat says, I need this thing, you agree and you go get him the thing, right? 'Cause it gets you dank food and he's happy with you. You still have like your personal quests, and I've done all of those solo, I think. So I still have that sense of like, yeah, I fucking beat that thing. Hell yes, you know. But when you're trying to grind out armor, you can never get the full armor set on just one fight, you know. So even though I've beaten that thing and I've got lots of materials, I don't have enough materials to make, 6 pieces of whatever. So I'll always have to fight it at least 2 more times. And it just makes it a lot more manageable to have this system in place where a person can be like, I'm fighting this thing and I really need help. And you can say, I'll help you because I really need pieces of that monster. It makes it so that it's not as much of a grind. And it also, I think, encourages like kind of the community aspect of it.
Socialization, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome that the servers are worldwide. So you play with like Japanese people and stuff like that. That's been really fun. Lots of emotes happening in there. And also, I love that if you have exchanged guild cards with somebody, you can find, when you're just out on your own, you can find your friends' palicos out in the wilderness, and then they'll come and like help you. So like I keep running into all of my friends' cats and being like, "You want to come with us?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Let's
and then
go on an adventure.
My friends' palicos will follow me around. It's adorable.
My understanding with the SOS system also is that you can't use it to kill a monster that you haven't already killed yourself.
Yes.
So at least you've got to prove at least once that you can actually beat the fucking thing, so you don't get to freeload off of everybody.
You can if I was going into a mission where it was the first time that I was fighting it, but I realized like, fuck, I really need help. Like I actually can't do this alone. I could fire off an SOS flare even though it's the first time that I've ever fought that thing. But I can't respond to an SOS flare for something I've never done.
Yeah.
The game gives you lots of options to help reward you. The investigations aspect is also like kind of neat. Anytime you beat a monster, there's an investigation list that will update, and the investigation list is essentially like optional quests that you can put onto your roster. So you can go through and it'll say like, we need you to capture an Anjanath, and you'll say, sick, I would love to capture an Anjanath. And at the bottom it'll tell you if you complete this investigation, you'll get so many like rare items. So you could look at it and say, man, I could really use some money. So you can go through and choose ones that offer you a lot of money as a reward. Or you could go through, if you were like, man, I really need a gem from this dragon, you could go through and pick an investigation where you have to fight a dragon, and in the end you're going to get like a gold tier rare drop from that monster, and you can just pray that it'll be a gem, so it that sort of thing helps with guaranteeing you better items as well. They give you lots of ways to make it feel worth it to fight the same things over and over again.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very fun and adorable. Again, I'm not super high rank or anything like that. I'm still like a baby, but I've played a decent amount of it already. It's just, I'm the sort of person that wants to traipse around in each new area and find all of the mining spots and see where all of the herbs are and find all the insects. What can I make with these insects? Oh my gosh, I can make a smoke bomb. That's so fun, right? So it just takes me a lot longer to get through the story.
It's both inspiring and insufferable.
You can play it however you want to play it. It's a Monster Hunter. You can be Sam and be like, I just want to kill shit. And then you're rank 65. So
you're playing it exactly the way the devs intended you to play it. It's like, we put all these things here for a reason. I'm glad you're participating. Where the rest of us are like, fuck this shit. Let's get as high as we can, as quick as we can. Kill as much shit as possible.
Yeah, like Kristen, who works for Jesse, Kristen and I were talking, and she was like, man, I feel like everybody else is blasted past me because I want to do all of the fiddly little shit. And I was like, I want to do all the fiddly little shit. So so we're gonna go on a hunt together, and it's gonna be great.
Well, it's cool the game supports that, though, that it doesn't have to just pigeonhole you into one direction, I guess.
Yeah, not at all. I honestly, this sounds dumb, but I honestly wish that there were more optional quests. I wish that when I went into town, there were more people being like, you know what I could really use? Like 12 herbs. I'd be like, I got you. I wish that there was more of kind of the side stuff that popped up.
Just really dull shit.
Yeah, stuff that kind of palate cleansers in between killing monsters, if that makes sense.
It does make a degree of sense, yeah.
Yeah. So far the game, like you can fish in the game, right? And so far the game doesn't really encourage you to fit. Like I had one mission from a guy that I found in the middle of nowhere who was like, I'm a fisherman. You should see if you can get me this fish. And I was like, okay, I got that fish. And then dude fucking disappeared.
Have you tried fishing with the net?
With the net? No.
Go to a fishing hole where there's like just fish in the water.
Yeah.
And throw your like capture net in.
Okay.
And you can get like 15 fish at a time. And all the other fish run away. They if you miss, they run away. But like there's a brief moment where you're like, fuck you, fish. And it's just you get like 15. You're like, I got them all. Yeah.
Oh damn.
It's great.
I've never done that. You know what I did do since the last time that we talked about this, last co-optional, Jesse, is I found the Palico like town. And my tail raiders have leveled up enough that I can send out safaris.
Very nice.
Is that what you were talking about when you were like, yeah, you can get it to a point where you can send people out and they'll bring you back like monster bits?
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
Yeah.
that shit is so nice coming back. And all of these kitties are like, look at all this shit we found. We killed so much stuff for you. I'm like, oh.
The more you do it and the higher level your friends are, the better they are too, because it's your own friend. Like your friends are people you have met. It's their palicos as well. And so, yeah, I have one that I don't know which friend of mine is. It may just be like a random Asian dude I met, but like his palico team is like max level. And I'm like, send them into hell. Get me everything. And they come back just like, we brought you lots of stuff, master. I'm like, okay. Come on in, guys.
We just played the game for you at that point. We actually beat the final boss for you. Here it is. Here's all the bits.
I would love that to happen.
Done.
If I could get all the achievements just for having them do it.
I'm just gonna chill. You guys go kill that elder dragon.
Yeah, it's like you guys are much higher
Monster
level
Hunter
than me
Manager is
anyway.
the game I want to play. Just go do it for me.
I want to get my tail raider affinity with the Jagras to the point that my Palico can ride the Jagras around.
Mine does. It's so cool.
Truly made it.
Yeah. He there's in each zone there's one camp you can find that you can get them on your side and they'll give you like an item. So I know the only ones I have so far are I have the healing one that you start with. I have one that like puts a light orby on the ground that if you hit it, it blinds the animals. And then again, I'm going to stress this. Find that fucking looterang. That shit is so good. He just throws a boomerang at an animal, it hits it, and it like brings him loot.
Yeah, I need
it's so good
to figure out how to do that.
It's in either the Coral Highlands or the area that's like underneath it. It's one of those two areas is where it's at.
Vale.
Yes, the Rotten Vale. It's in one of those two places is where you meet that guy.
Okay.
And all you need to do is bring raw meat with you, and then you throw it down, and the palicos are like, oh, it's a fucking raw meat, and they run down, they eat it, and then your palico runs up, and they become friends. They're like, yo, hey, thanks for that raw meat. Here's a boomerang, and he's like, I'll use this to get loot, master. And you're like, yeah.
Which makes you think like why they didn't do it in the first place. Like they've got a boomerang that gets loot. Surely that would also count as meat. So they could throw it at a thing and it brings meat back. So why were they so enthusiastic about the meat in the first place?
Don't ask me. He was hungry. That palico, he was so hungry.
He was not thinking this through. Like later on, he's gonna regret this deal. It's gonna be the worst trade deal ever.
There's like an old man palico that you can run into. Yes.
I'm sorry. I just need to update. It's not the Looterang. It's the Plunder Blade. I'm sorry. My bad. Looterang, much better name. Anyway, please. I'm sorry.
I agree, actually. Plunder Blade is a terrible name for anything. It sounds like a really awful 80s cartoon.
Could be a sex toy. Could be a blade. I like it.
Yeah.
The Plunder Blade?
Plunder Blade. And the warriors of Dick Fuck.
I held my Plunder Blade high.
And the warriors of Dick Fuck will be summoned.
Amazing.
Oh dear.
You guys are on board with this.
Don't worry. We
are trying to get the Twitch channel banned today. We're really working on it hard.
But there's an old man palico that you can run into, and he'll tell you how popular your weapon is. So like you go and you talk to him, and he'll be like, most people choose the long sword, and barely anybody chooses the horn. But in third place is your weapon. That was my situation.
A letdown for you, or is that encouragement? It's like, I'm not using the casual weapon.
I think some people just want to know like how many. It's crazy the percentages though. It's something like 24 or 25% of people use the longsword.
That isn't a surprise.
and
honestly.
and then it drops rapidly. Like the next one is 12%, then 9%, and then it's just like the horn is 1%. And the more that I talked about it with Sam, I was like, I'm gonna fucking be a horn user now. I'm ready. I'm gonna buff everybody. I'm gonna heal everybody, and I'm gonna smack monsters around with my giant horn. I'm so ready.
Well, I mean, think about it. If you read the description of the horn, it does not sound great. Like, it's like, oh, great. So its primary is to buff people, but I'm playing mostly solo, so this is probably just gonna be shit.
But it's like about combos, and so like every combo you activate, like a different, it like gives you charges. Like it's crazy the way it plays, and it just seems like something you have to be very, very patient to learn. But then you become like the greatest player that ever lived, because everything you do is like amped up.
In a group
I mean, like,
at that point.
it would be a good weapon for me to choose for multiplayer situations, right? Like I can have different.
You're not stuck to one
have
weapon.
Tons of loadouts prepped to go. So if I'm normally using dual blades, but if I'm going to join a team of 4, I switch to the horn. They would fucking love me. I'd be like, "What's up, everybody? Let's kill this bitch. I want to play some music." Be great. You can queue up like 3 songs at a time and then just sit there and play them and get everybody yoked.
At some point, I will actually restart the damn thing after I had to do so when I changed my PSN account over. I haven't done it yet. Because I'm like, I know the tutorial is an hour of bullshit and then 2 hours of before it starts to get interesting. So I'm like, when do I have 3 hours that I want to sit down, and when do I have the patience for that?
Man, do I feel like if you are like the first 3 hours are like, meh, it might not be the game for you.
No,
but to put it out there, my dude, it may not be the one for you.
Oh, come on. The first hour is boring as shit. Most of the time, you don't do a damn thing. You're just following the other guy.
It wasn't nearly as engaging for me at the very beginning. But it did improve a lot. And then like when we were doing Nebula Jazz yesterday, our DM Adam was saying that for him, it wasn't until he hit high rank that he was like, oh, this is what the game's supposed to be, right? So it's interesting. Different people play at different amounts and then go, oh, this is what I wanted out of this game.
It didn't take me long to get to that point. Honestly, like, again, the first hour was bullshit. I don't see how anyone could argue otherwise. Like, most of it should have just been a cutscene because it is you holding forward. You can't fucking do anything. You don't get to fight anything. You have to follow dude. It's like, oh, can I just go and get? No, you're not allowed to pick that up. Follow me. Follow me.
Yeah.
Follow me. It's like, shut the fuck up. It's like, I wish there was a button that said skip to first town area. And then after that, you start to pick up quests and stuff, and it gets going pretty quickly. At that point, I was okay with that. I was okay with the way that the initial quests were tutorialized. I think it was helpful. The way that it first showed how the flies worked and everything, that was great. It was a good reminder on certain things since I haven't played since Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, and that was a long fucking time ago. So, I think you get into it pretty well. It's just that first hour is shit. So I just need to sit down. You know what I could do? I could get my son to play the first hour and then tell him to get the fuck out.
And be like, give me that.
Yeah, that's perfect. I did not consider that as a possibility.
Jesse,
it's a whole new world for you.
I should
get to play with Matt Mercer.
What?
Matt Mercer is
you
too busy to play
hang out
with you
Matt Mercer for an
or
hour.
anyone else.
Who does Matt Mercer play in that game?
I'm gonna say everyone, maybe
half the characters.
But the main guy, immediately, the very first voice you hear is him. He's like, "Hey."
Oh, dude with the that guy. Okay, got it.
I wish there was
the
more
one that
story
leads you to
about
the
the one
village,
like Onion Knight guy who just shows up. He's like, "I'm the biggest fucking badass on this island." You're like,
the huntsman who just like sits there.
yes, he's my favorite character.
Who he is too.
He literally just is like, "Ka-ching! I'm gonna kill every last motherfucking monster." You're like, you're awesome. Who are you?
He just sits there, and then he just sits there. I'm waiting for him to do a thing.
Yeah.
I bet he actually doesn't know how to hunt at all. He's just been bragging this entire time.
He just looks
That's the big reveal.
Yeah, he does some cool shit, but like then he goes back to just sitting, and you're like, you're that guy in every fight who just stands in the background and just waits.
Yeah. Jeff, any intention of
breaks out some
playing?
moves and kills some guys, and you're like, oh, that's the best guy. Yeah.
Any
that
intention
dude.
of playing this when it hits PC, Jeff?
I might. It's funny because it's almost like a generational thing, but I didn't really play World of Warcraft, so like the kind of game of get mission, go off, do mission. Oh, it's a big mission. You need 10 people for this. We're doing that. I'm not hating on it because I know that there's a lot of people. It's almost kind of like a snowy, cold Christmas. You guys are on the inside eating this beautiful turkey dinner, and I'm on the outside like, I want to be where the cool people are. You know, like I want to understand, but I don't. It's not appealing to me.
Right.
Like when Dodger's like, I
You're
hit this
hearing-
SOS and we did a boss fight and he was half dead.
It's
It was
a
super awesome.
very
I'm like,
understandable
lame,
translation.
stupid. That sounds terrible. And she's like, it's so cool.
I would
So,
imagine,
but
there's
I
a
know
lot
that's
of
me.
that.
That's not, you know.
It's like MMO
I like your
players,
impression of
ex-MMO
me.
players have moved on to games like Monster Hunter. That's probably where they went.
Mm.
You know, you got basically the same stuff. You know, if you're talking about going out and questing and getting stuff to make cool armor and raiding, basically raiding, you know, against big monsters and shit, that's WoW for all intents and purposes. It's just you don't have 100 people wandering around the city or whatever. Not that that fucking matters in any way. So, yeah, I think that most of what we liked out of MMOs 10 years ago is in games like that, or in games like Warframe, or hell, even to some extent, in games like Dark Souls, which aren't particularly multiplayer, but the exploration aspect and the boss killing aspect and the getting upgraded loot aspect and leveling up, that's all there. There's probably a lot of the desire. It's still there. It's just there's no MMO that can satisfy it anymore because they're all either old or Asian and stupid. Seriously. There are a lot of
agree. I just
very
like the way that went.
stupid
It's like
Asian
and
games, right?
Stupid.
Let me tell you about how every Asian game is apparently exactly the same. And I will I will use an example.
I can't wait to clip specific moments of this.
I will use an example, or I should rephrase and say Korean, specifically
okay,
Korean.
even better.
Sure, yeah, this can only get better.
Let
Please,
me
go on.
rephrase Korean by saying that I downloaded a game on mobile called Lord of Dice, which kind of sounded relatively interesting in that it was a sort of tactics-like dungeon crawler game with collectible characters that leveled up. It had a bit of gacha in there, but it had a bunch of dungeon running and upgrading. It had this weird dice battle mechanic and 6 different classes that all did a bunch of different things. And it seemed like, hey, this is kind of different, and I'm going to jump into this thing. And I jumped into it, and this fucking UI apparently exists in every Korean game ever. It's completely overcomplicated. Completely. It's just overdone in every way. It's designed for a vertical phone and nothing else, which means you can only play it vertically, and it's about, you know, it's got 2 black bars on either side. And the UI at the bottom is always fucking identical. The way that summoning works in the game is always fucking identical. The anime-like characters doing the tutorials, they're all fucking identical. It's like, holy shit, I have seen so many games that look like
they all
this.
look alike, TB?
They all look alike. The games, I mean, they all look alike.
Clipped it.
They
It's too
play
late.
alike.
Clipped.
And it's like, and they throw all these features at you so fucking fast and expect you to understand what all of this shit is. And the thing is, for their target market, they probably do understand it. Why? Because they have played that game 100 times before in different forms.
I thought you were going to say something way more racist. Go ahead.
No. They understand all of those concepts. So them usually being drowned in different kinds of upgrade materials. It's like, well, you could evolve this creature, or you could awaken it, which would do different things. You can level it up here. You need this kind of material and that kind of material, and some are offered in dailies, and tickets are offered here. And there's 20 events currently going on. Do you want to do any of those? Well, you don't have the level for that, but we're going to put it on the screen anyway, just to fucking confuse you. Look at all these features. I don't know what any of them do, but our target players do because they were in our last 100 games. I was just like, fuck me. This is... It's incredible. It's a whole new world. It's a hidden world that
Hey guys,
that some of us
if you're
just
just
get a
tuning
peek at.
The TLDR is that TotalBiscuit hates Asian people, but
Yeah.
we kind of moved the conversation on, I think, from there. I'm just kidding. He doesn't hate Asian people. He just hates the things.
Just
they make.
Koreans. Oh, just the things they make. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
waiting for John
sorry.
to like slip and be like, you know what else I hate? It's made for small hands. I don't like the small Korean hands.
God damn. I should go on a trek through the week looking for games with identical UIs to this fucking thing, and I don't think it would take me very long to come up with a large number of them.
Derailed.
don't
We are
know.
off the tracks.
The way that Jeff delivered that was too fucking funny.
Oh dear.
But
I'm
I
just
guess
saying, I have the largest iPad for a reason.
Right.
Compensates for these tiny
True.
hand games.
Oh, I thought you were gonna make a penis joke now.
Nah.
So I might check out Monster Hunter because it seems to be people are really enjoying it. And the thing that can make me fall over into the category, even if I miss the generation, is I'm a loot whore. I fucking love loot, and it seems like Monster Hunter is basically loot whoring the game.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Literally the only
Yeah.
reason to play it, yes. I see my clip count gradually rising. I know
I could
exactly
hook-
what you motherfuckers are doing.
You know, John, you seem to have gotten 400 clips at this one moment.
It's weird.
In time.
It's weird how that happened, isn't it?
What
Yeah.
was that? What
was
happened
that?
just
What'd
then?
you say?
Hmm.
Let's take a look. What's
How
this one
very odd.
called?
What
John
is this?
hates Asian people. Okay, I'm gonna check this one out.
Oh my.
Hmm.
What else have you been playing, Jeff?
What? It's my boring. It's the same answers. I still play StarCraft and XCOM. Those were my venture out. I did try this game that's maybe you guys have heard a little bit of it. I think it's in beta called Golem Gates a little bit.
Yeah, I actually have heard of this.
No.
There's
like-
some
it's
pretty
one of those-
big
it's-
devs behind this game.
Pretty big devs. It's very early in. It's actually already like sound design, art style, graphics, very cool. The gameplay was fairly shallow, but again, that's like they're like, hey, this is like alpha. This is very fucking early. So I don't judge it too harshly for that because it could end up that's a non-issue, right? It could get expanded and diversified and become something awesome. But it's basically kind of in the similar vein of you have a central hero-esque character. It can spawn out into small. It's not quite a Dota-like game, but it's in that realm.
It reminds me
seems
of Battleforge, which was an old EA game. It's a kind of it's a collectible RTS. But this looks a lot cooler because I'm looking at the physics and the crazy shit that's going on and what I assume is the Unreal 4 engine, and it looks fucking amazing.
I knew you thought I thought you'd think that as well, and it sounds cool too. Which is I know that's I feel the hipster gamer side of me is the sound design is fucking it's fantastic.
overlooked
I
a
find
lot.
myself saying that a lot, but it's true. Some of these games are really incredible sounding, which I think is an underrated aspect of a game. But yeah, this one sounds good.
Yeah, I might wait a little longer, as you mentioned, since it does appear that it's a little early.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't want to ruin my experience of it by that, but it does look like it's right up my alley. The collectible aspect plus the RTS aspect, yeah. Yeah, I'm into that idea. It's I think it was a bunch of people, ex-Epic Games guys, that are involved in making it. So there's some pedigree there. But I'm intrigued to see where it goes. Hopefully in a very good direction.
Yeah, and like I said, for a game this early, what I was really impressed with is just how polished it looked. Like you said, it's just like,
Yeah. it
so
looks
guys, I'm
beautiful.
so sorry. We're really embarrassed to show you this. It's really early. And I look at it, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
No, it looks,
Yeah,
looks
I
very
can see
good.
where you can improve on this. No, it looks good. Other than that, I've been watching, not playing, which I think is a weird thing, but it's cool. I've been watching a lot of Subnautica,
Yeah.
which I know you guys have talked about, but for me,
Not
from the outside looking
much,
in,
'cause
we
we
haven't
haven't had
talked
the
about it yet.
We really haven't had the chance to play
None
it.
of us have really played it.
No.
So
Is there a reason you guys, or is it just like a timing thing? Because it looks fucking polished
Jesse's
and good.
terrified of water.
Okay.
That's a timing thing. I'm really busy. I got stuff to do. A lot of I got so much things going on.
Yeah,
in my
he's
life.
not
afraid of
super
water
into
stuff.
survival games. I'm not sure
Okay.
about Teeb.
I'll certainly try it. It's more of like, how much of my time is this going to consume? because I'm looking at it, I'm seeing this has the potential to consume a lot of time, actually. It looks good, don't get me wrong, and it's been in early access for God knows how long. I mean, it's a 5-year development cycle on that game, I think.
Is it really? Wow.
Oh, yeah. They spent a long time on that one. But eventually, I will play it. I've actually avoided watching streams completely because I want to go in there blind. I don't want to know what happens.
Yeah, I think that's a cool way to do it, because I wouldn't say I'm spoiled, but it's just I was impressed is what I would say. I'm not really, you guys are really good at like digging in what's coming out and stuff like that. It kind of has to smash me in the face, and I'm like, oh, there's a game there. And this one was one of those games where when I saw it, I was like, Jesus, it's very polished, very smooth. It's like realistic art design, but at the same time, it's not trying to be, no one's like, well, I hooked my computer to my car and I got it going at 100 Mustang horsepower per minute. So it's nothing like that.
That's an accurate measurement.
That's how you do computers, as far as I'm concerned. You hook it up to your car. But it looks awesome. And they've done some really, the devs seem cool. Whenever a dev group is fairly plugged into the people that play their game, I find that makes a really solid product. A lot of the time, not every time, but they do some cute little stuff.
Unknown Worlds are really good like that. Like, they were great with natural selection. They've been awesome with this as well, so I will check it eventually when I get around to it.
Subnautica is a masterpiece, says Major Iceborg. I mean,
oh, there's your box quote right there.
Masterpiece.
I looked a little bit at the new RTS from Petroglyph, Forged Battalions.
Heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they're using probably the same engine they've used for the last 3 RTS. They did their 8-bit series. There's like 8-bit armies, 8-bit aliens, 8-bit realms, something like that, whatever. But this one is not voxel, like blocky. It looks like an actual RTS game, which is good. And their whole gimmick is you can customize your units. You can choose which weapon you put on it, and you can add a bunch of add-ons to it, which will alter how it performs. Take a loadout in, and you can take out a fairly large loadout, actually, of different units. You're actually not that restricted. You could take in an army that is about the size of a StarCraft roster in there of different unit types, and then you go to town. The problem is, with a game like that, that sounds great in theory, until you realize that at the start, well, you've really got nothing interesting to fight with. So you're going to have to do a bunch of campaign games and skirmishes to earn the research points to get stuff that's interesting to fight with. And then you realize, oh, the thing that I picked was utter shit against the units that they happen to have. And because I don't have enough of a selection of units, because I haven't got enough research points to make a good selection of units, this is going to take forever. That's sort of the inherent problem of that. Now, there's kind of balance issues with it. For instance, I got a new weapon for one of my vehicles, but I don't have any of the upgrades for the vehicles which give it like extra armor or extra firepower or whatever. So generally, it's just kind of a giant grind, I suppose, of throwing your units at the enemy units, hoping to outproduce them so you can beat them. I'm not really sure how they're going to handle that in the long run. I know for the multiplayer, they made it so that you are grouped into tiers. Yeah. So you're only going up against people that have roughly the same amount of research done as you have. But to start off with the single player, it is a little frustrating to have to go through that.
I find myself having the same reaction when someone says, have you checked out this new RTS? Like, I almost get sad, and I'm always I get downcast, because like the RTS genre for a lot of people has become that like 75-year-old gymnast carny, where it's like they used to be fucking incredible at what they did, and now they're like still trying to make it work, but they are the 75-year-old gymnast trapeze artist or whatever. So they're like, here's our RTS. No, come back. Wait, this one has fucking laser dolphins. We
nailed it this time.
Laser goddamn dolphins. They're like still walking away like, no. And bears, laser bears. I'm talking about Command & Conquer here, obviously.
Yes.
And come back, please. And instead, it used to be RTSs were like unabashedly like, no, this game's punishing. It's fast. It's hard. You feel like a goddamn god when you win. And it's really tough. But now RTSs are like, no, it's easy. Okay, stop. Listen, there's more. And we have sexy ladies and laser dolphins.
Can I ask like a general question? Just like throwing this out there question, because it's something I've always wondered. When RTSs going back like, oh my God, 15, 17, 18 years now, taking it back, those games very popular on computer, right? On PC.
Yeah.
The market for PC, I think, even though was still very, very large, it was, when it came to gaming, there was like the console gamer and there was the PC gamer. And the PC gamer, which is where this whole, like, I assume PC Master Race deal comes from, is like, we are the hardest of hardcore gamers, and the games we fucking play are like crazy hardcore, and that's just like how we fucking roll. And so RTS at the time was very much like, this shit is hard. And then there was console games, which could be anything from like JRPGs to like fucking Mario to whatever. Like there's even hard stuff on there. But the point is that the RTS market was mainly for PC, and the PC gamer was a different type of gamer. And then over time, as more and more people get access to more and more PCs and saw the potential to play more and more games on PCs, is it because the market was like, no, it doesn't relate to us anymore, that there was a shift? Or is it because the genre itself got stale? Or are all the factors like they come together? I just have a lot of questions. I'd love to know the information.
I've always had a
on
pet
that.
theory on this.
I've got one
hit
as
on
well.
a couple nails in the head there.
First.
Real quick, it's just I feel like the average gamer in general, as time has gone on, has wanted more often to be rewarded or have a kind of a encapsulated gaming experience where it doesn't have a payoff every very long period of time, or there's not kind of a torturous chunk of time. Now, before I finish, that being said, there are anomalies which are incredible, and they maybe invalidate the entire thing I just said, like Dark Souls, an incredibly difficult game that is just known for how difficult it is, essentially, is wildly successful. And that flies in the face of what I just said. My counter argument to myself, which is amazing that I'm doing that right now, would be that there's like one Dark Souls for every 200 fucking very easy watered down games.
And I think what's funny, because even I was trying to like, okay, I have to counter argue. I feel like because we live on the internet, we live in a world where we know anything we say, there's gonna be like 15,000 comments about how we're wrong. So we're like, I gotta jump on this shit before I. But like, the point. Dark Souls and games like that are aberrations. They like are few and far between. They come along and it's like, oh my God, that's amazing. But you're right. And I think as more and more gamers who have that vibe of like, I want to be rewarded for the experience, went to PC, which was very much about like skill based, or like you really have to. It's going to take 15 hours to do this one campaign, and you're just like, yeah, I'm in it. That slowly changed, and so now PC games are very different. And so I think maybe that has a lot to do with RTS in general.
I've got a couple of different ideas on it. I think the idea that we don't want to play difficult multiplayer competitive games anymore is nonsense, because the most popular games in the world are difficult competitive multiplayer games. They're different. They're not real-time strategies. They are League of Legends, they're Dota, they're Counter-Strike. They are that kind of thing. And they're all team-based, which is an interesting change from RTS, which is inherently a 1v1 genre. I also feel like at the time that RTS was popular, nobody had a fucking clue how to play RTS outside of South Korea. Streaming didn't exist. The way that people played RTS was terribly. You know, we're talking like 10-minute, no rush. Oh, you're not allowed to use this unit. You can ban this unit. I mean, there were literally games that had that in their lobbies that allowed you to ban certain units, for God's sake, because they were designed around that, and that's how people played those games. As soon as we realized how Brood War was actually played, then it was like, I got no fucking chance in hell. Ever playing this game online to any basic degree. Mm-hmm. Which means that you're left with either playing casual games against your friends, comp stomps, or a campaign. And a lot of these RTS games as of late have lacked the campaign element in a pretty severe way. You look at the way that Command & Conquer did campaigns, they're very memorable. The green screen cutscenes, the famous actors bringing fucking Ric Flair in and everything like that. Like, it was fucking awesome. And they had some really good single-player modes in there, despite also having the multiplayer. And you could buy those games, play the campaign, and probably be satisfied by it. And I think the only game you can currently do that with is StarCraft 2. Arguably Grey Goo. It did have a good campaign, but it was a bit short. So maybe not that brilliant. Oh, these other RTS games that are coming out barely have campaigns, and the campaigns they do have are uninteresting. You know, they don't have those green screen actors. They don't have that crazy plot. They don't have the insanity of the previous titles. So you're left with the multiplayer, which ends up being super fucking hard, even when dealing with shit like Tooth and Tail, which tried to make it easier. As people discovered, some of them quite recently, it turns out you can get completely fucking crushed in Tooth and Tail over and over again, even though they've simplified the game. So, and that's not, if you're getting crushed and crushed over and over again, there's only a small group of people that have the amount of tolerance to keep getting their ass kicked and to actually get past that point.
I very much so agree with that.
So I think RTS is one of the worst games for that, followed by fighting games. I wonder what the drop-off rate on fighting games is for playing multiplayer. I'm going to imagine large on many games. Very, very large.
I don't like playing multiplayer in fighting games. Because there's always, like, the second a game comes out, you're already running into people who crush you.
Yeah. Because there's probably a lot of techniques they've taken from the previous game. They may already know a character pretty well, and then they just wreck you at it. And regardless of how good matchmaking gets, it gets worse the smaller the community gets. It gets worse and worse and worse.
The lifespan of World of Warcraft, though, as kind of, in my opinion, the way I see it, and of course that doesn't mean it's necessarily true, but I see it as an interesting example of what I'm talking about, where like towards the beginning of World of Warcraft, unique armor, huge quests were like fucking the accolade was that, oh my god, you did it, or you have that armor, it took you 80 hours, it's impossible, that's incredible, wow. And then you go to World of Warcraft now, where all that stuff can be done in a couple of nights, and it's because, in my opinion, the average gamer does not have it's not commercially successful to be that guy, to be that gal on a big game. But I do agree with your assessment that, you know, the biggest esports are very difficult games. I don't know if they're necessarily the most commercially successful. They're way up there, right? But even like a game like Overwatch is more popular right now than CS:GO in sales, but is like the far easier FPS game. Very different, of course.
And it's behind in terms of esports viewership. I think Counter-Strike just had their biggest viewership ever. Like, it's still growing in the majors, and it helps that Counter-Strike is a very watchable game, and we've had this argument 5,000 times before about Overwatch not being a very watchable game, not being a clean game, not being an easy game to tell what's going on. But if you look at the top esports games, they're extremely popular. Massively popular. Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Dota. There's your three biggies. Very, very popular. And then I think you've got sort of the fighting game scene sort of off to the side, where you'll watch multiple fighting games. Like, you might like one particular game over another, but you'll go watch EVO and you'll watch everything at EVO. Like, there's enough maybe in common between all of these fighting games that if you understand the basics, you can enjoy watching a great deal of them and see why they're so hype. So I think that's a very different sort of thing that's off to the side, where they've got their own community where they support like all the games that are in it instead of just one. Although obviously some games are a bit more popular viewership wise than others. More people are probably going to watch Street Fighter than will watch BlazBlue and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's tricky to get a single player RTS right. You know, at the moment, it's obvious that They Are Billions has taken off to some extent, which is weird because I don't think it's very good. But apparently other people disagree with me on that. Is it a case of you've got to incorporate elements of survival? Is that what people like now? You know, do you have to incorporate elements of current genre du jour in order to make RTS work, rather than trying to make a classic RTS game? Because how many people have said, we're making a classic RTS game, guys, and no one fucking buys it?
But have they done that though? Like, actually made a good story-based RTS game that gets people to buy it rather than
Grey
just like...
Goo was pretty good in that respect.
I think the story was very secondary, though, right?
Yeah,
I
the story
mean,
wasn't
they got
the main,
some hardcore like CG in that for the cutscenes between missions. Like they really did put quite a lot of effort into the missions.
A good story? That's the question.
No.
Yeah, and so like the reason why a lot of the RTS games in the beginning were what you saw was like when you had the original ones, it was all about like, okay, this is a cool little thing, I'm building bases, and then it became like, okay, how do people keep people interested? And so when you saw the sequels and all the bigger versions of those come out, it was all about story and things like that. And over time, it sort of faded into it's about the online PvP aspects, but I never really think that's what it was. I truly think the reason why people got addicted to RTS was because it was like, you are part of this, like, I am building the castle to fight Lord Von Doom, and I shall have an army of airships, and my goblin riders will go out. Like, it's that kind of shit. People
and the
love
only
that
reason
stuff.
I can do that is because I set the difficulty low enough that they're going to give me 20 minutes to do it.
Yeah,
Whereas if you ever went online, that would
That's
never
fun.
happen, you know?
That's fun. Building my battle fleet is fun. I love that shit. And then like being like, go fleet, and they just like destroy the bad guys. That shit's great. And I never.
So how do you make a game that is designed around allowing you to do that without it basically saying, here's 20 minutes of me doing nothing to allow you to build up your army of doom? How do we get to that point? Or do we get rid of a lot of the whole base building and teching up and just come down to, you can bring the army of doom in pretty much immediately and fight from there? Because other games have tried to do that and failed miserably.
I think the idea of building bases and like upgrading and making your way there is fine. I just think that everything is so PvP focused when it's like, we want to make it so that when you battle someone, it is faster and everything is more exciting, and like it isn't just people sitting around building stuff.
It's not really faster than the old shit, though. Like,
Right,
Command and Conquer was pretty
PvP
fast.
is a huge deal. I mean, this is the inherent problem. As long as the PvP aspect of it is important to people, which it always will be, we'll never have like the older version of an RTS game where it's like, because there was no like crazy matchmaking shit going on the internet, or like, you know, multiple faction, whatever, we were playing other people. It was just like you versus like the Scorpion army. You would like just have fun. And it was about just like tactically building stuff and like, I've got to
I don't see those as being incompatible, honestly. Like, you can go, if you go and say there's an open source version of the original Red Alert that you can play right now, and you'll go on there, play it multiplayer, and get absolutely fucking destroyed. And that game is pretty much the same pace as the original Red Alert was. And they had no problem creating a campaign that let you do exactly what you just described. So it seems to me you could very easily do both without there being too much of a problem, but you would need that campaign. You'd need that really good campaign. And there hasn't been an RTS that had that really good campaign for a long fucking time, with the exception of StarCraft 2.
I think it just costs a lot of money to make something like that work and make a good campaign and have a good story. And I don't know, in today's day and age, that people can see the investment in something that would clearly be more single player focused than PvP online. We can make money off of this for the next 20 years kind of shit. And that's just the way like gaming is right now. Everything has to be online stuff. That sucks. Sometimes it's nice to have a game where you don't have to worry about some guy who has played 5,000 more hours than you shitting on you.
True. In which case, single player is the way to go, and probably the reason why They Are Billions is popular.
Yeah.
It's not some...
And you can pause.
Yeah.
The intensity of the
helps.
game has a built-in mechanic where it's like, all right, it's too much. Let's dial it back immediately.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to a break. When we come back, we'll find some news for you. And if not, we'll waste your time. It's pretty much been the show up to this point. I don't see any reason to change it now. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-Optional Podcast for the final hour or so of the show.
Oh, wow.
Which is usually news, of which, God, there's not been a lot, really.
2 weeks in a row, yeah?
Yeah, it's
2 weeks
been
in a row of being like, I mean...
fairly
Gotta be
quiet on the
something that
Western
happened
Front.
in the world.
And there was something that I thought was interesting, that I think it might be a good topic for us.
Mm.
So, it's not made major news or anything, but the Zachtronics game, the latest one, what is it, Opus Magnum?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So initially, Opus Magnum got rejected by GOG as not being something that they would want on their store. Basically, their internal curation came to the conclusion that it wasn't something that they wanted to sell.
Okay.
Now, needless to say, that got public, and a lot of people yelled at GOG, and then GOG relented and agreed to sell Opus Magnum. Now, as to why Opus Magnum wasn't being sold, it was really down to their own personal decision internally. Their internal curation.
Because they actually curate stuff, unlike Steam.
Yes, that's the thing they actually do. You know, whoever was responsible for their internal curation looked at this and thought, this is not what we want.
Right.
And people sort of lost their shit over that.
People lost their shit on the internet?
Never, yeah. It's impossible. Impossible. But what I find interesting about that is that over the last few years, we've had various arguments about Steam and its lack of curation. And especially over the last year with Steam Direct, there's basically no internal curation on Steam at all. Like, they'll let anything on. It is possible to report something enough to get rid of it, which has been the case in, there's been a few games that came along that were doing things like gay bashing, or they were blatantly racist. They got rid of those, or games that just weren't even games. They didn't even work. They got rid of them. But outside of that, they haven't curated anything. And their argument for that is that one man's trash is another man's treasure. And here we see the sort of opposite end of that spectrum, where something which has been agreed by quite a lot of people to be a very good game was something that whoever looked at it that day at GOG said, no, it's not what we want.
Which is their prerogative. They can totally do that.
It is. It is
Until you yell at them, then they'll change their mind.
But
it's okay.
Yeah, which, to be fair, as long as you are polite about it and you show interest, that's kind of the way that it should work, right? They initially said no. Oh, we got this wrong. Obviously, there's a bunch of interest. We can clearly see that from the response that this has got. So we'll reverse our decision and put it on the store. And no harm, no foul, right? At that point, as far as I'm concerned, that seems like a reasonable way to go.
But that's when the story takes a drastic turn.
Not really.
You won't believe what happened next.
No, that's it. No, that is the end of the story, and it's selling well on GOG, and it's in their charts, and everything's fine. Yeah, that's about as far as it goes. But it does bring up an interesting conversation about, actually, do you really, really want Steam to curate? And if they did, this would happen. And you know what? It would be far, far worse than it happening on GOG. Because if this happened to Opus Magnum on Steam, their game is dead in the water. Steam is a huge retailer. They have a massive position in the market. If they denied your game from appearing on their store, it might as well not exist in the minds of a lot of people.
Which is important to note because, it's with a full heart, I get to announce that TB and I have been working on a game called We Hate Asian People. And it's going to hit.
It'll be pretty big.
Good night. Good night.
It'll be designed for people with very small hands.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, dear.
God bless.
I agree with your point. It's interesting because there's going to be people that adamantly are like, wow. If my 7-year-old son was in there and saw Genital Jousting, which they would,
right?
Imagine me having to explain a dick fucking a dick in the butt till it fills a chart with cum.
I mean, that has to be explained to adults, really. I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all.
I'm actually still waiting for my explanation.
Good, solid explanation for that.
Why is this?
To be fair, Steam has some very, very basic guards against that kind of thing. If you give a Steam account to a minor, you can set it up with certain restrictions that they would never see that.
Yeah, I'm past all that.
That's not really a problem. I mean, I know of this because I have to do that because I have a 13-year-old son in the house. So there are certain things that I'd rather he not see on Steam. So there's plenty of family filter options for the thing.
We've all been 12 years old, though. I think it's really a funny idea because, like, a kid shopping on Steam, if they're like 7, then they probably shouldn't. Not to parent your kid for you. Maybe they're like a really old soul or something like that.
Well, I'm fairly sure they're not allowed a Steam account at the age of 7. I think it's illegal, or at least
on their parents, whatever.
Service,
my point is, like, the argument is gone.
Yeah.
The idea that like a 14-year-old kid could be exposed to a dick fucking a dick. It's like, I'm sorry, your kid's already drawn those dicks in all of his textbooks. You need to go look at it. It's there. We're over this. So the idea of like actually what's the selling point for me is a game goes to market. There's like, let's say it's a small game. There's 20 people that worked on it for like 3 years, and then Steam's just like, no, they're dead. They're dead in the water. Like those years are gone. Maybe that's their career. Maybe they're like, well, I'm going back to finance now because that was my try. You know, I'd rather the market decides everything. Call me a capitalistic fucking scumbag, but if a game's gonna sell, let it sell. If a game's completely inappropriate, then it probably should have some safeguards to remove it. But we don't need Jim Barenstein of Seattle, Washington, sitting in Valve being like, I don't like eggs having sex. You know, it's a game about eggs having sex. I don't like it. Get it out of here.
Well, we've had these arguments that people in the chat will make the argument. Well, you know, we don't need every fucking kiddies JavaScript project to be on Steam. Right. My counter argument is this. Something that looks very much like a kiddies JavaScript project. I ask you all to go and look at the game Dream Quest. Go to Steam, look up Dream Quest. Look at the screenshots for Dream Quest.
I'm doing it right now.
And what you will probably come to the conclusion of, this looks like absolute dog shit. And you would be right. It does look like absolute dog shit.
Ah, yes. This looks like a quality game that I'm
waiting for the turning point.
It looks like absolute dog shit. It's not. It's actually very, very, very good. And it's probably, before Slay the Spire was a thing, this was the original dungeon crawling deck building game. And is arguably in many ways better than Slay the Spire, despite it looking utterly fucking hideous. And that's saying a lot, because Slay the Spire looks hideous, but this is a level beyond that. Now, you tell me that this would not, in a very likely circumstance, get caught up in your purge of JavaScript kiddie games that shouldn't be on Steam. Because I find it extremely likely that somebody would not spend the time to dig into the mechanics of this to find out how good it actually is. And it is. And that means that this game would not be on Steam. And that would actually kind of suck, because despite it looking like that, if you can actually get past how it looks, and God, I wish they would improve that, you know, I'll happily turn around and say, please remaster this and get a new fucking artist for the love of God.
Oh my God, they use stick figures.
Yeah, they use stick figures. Like, this is fucking drawn in MS Paint. It's as simple as that. It's still actually a very, very good game. And games like this get caught up in that kind of curation because they look like dog shit. You know, they look like some student project that was made in a week. And there are more games like that. There are way more games like that.
Think about the dozens of people that bought this game that never would have played it. You know what I mean?
Hardy ha. This game's actually sold very well on iOS, I will have you know, sir. I'm interested to know how much it actually sold on Steam.
There are dozens of us.
Dozens of... Yeah, but the thing is, it's a very, very niche game. Like, are we going to start getting rid of niche games now because they're ugly? Because I don't really like... You know, the only argument that I can see that is good for curation on that level is if, and this is if, the other games, you know, these other great indie games are getting hidden under a pile of dog shit.
Right.
And my question to people is that actually happening? Because I can tell you this, on my Steam, it isn't. Now, maybe that's because I use my Steam a lot. And maybe that's because I use my Steam in a way that is unusual. I go out of my way to look for new shit. And I'm probably Steam's dream user for data gathering. So, you know what? I never see any of this bullshit. I have to go out of my way to look for the supposed piles of shit that are on Steam. I have to go out of my way to find them.
Did you say you're a shit digger, John?
Yes, that's a bit of a muckraker, as it were.
Shit digger.
I would have to go out of my way to find them.
Just gobbles up shit.
So if I have to go out of my way to find them, then I have to ask, is it actually as big a problem as people are making it out to be?
No.
Or is it simply a case that my Steam account is really well refined because it's done discovery and curation a lot and it's got a bunch of games on it, so Steam's magical algorithm understands what I like? And is that the ideal situation that people are going towards?
So my ideal games that I always wind up purchasing are like small indie games, right? But even then, it doesn't typically curate and suggest games, like new games that I would want to play. A lot of times what I wind up having to do is I go scroll down, and then it's got the list of like popular games.
Yeah, which
And
is generally all good.
Right. Maybe something in there is what I'm looking for. But generally what I wind up having to do is go to the all new releases tab, which is almost entirely DLC.
Well, you know you can turn the DLC off, right?
I know. And the way that it like scrolls through that shit is so unintuitive, I think. Because you have to, if you're already on like the second page, say, and then you start seeing a bunch of DLC and you're like, oh, I want to turn off DLC.
Well, you can turn that off
all over.
permanently. And you probably should by the sounds of it.
You can do it permanently?
Yeah.
How?
It's in one of the
Never
filter
mind,
options.
I'll ask you later.
Yeah, it's in one of the filter options. You can turn it off permanently. You don't have to deal with that.
What? That would change my life.
Yeah, that does make things a lot easier.
But the point is, Steam doesn't suggest games that I want to play very often.
Steam does a good job of suggesting games that I want to play very often, but again, I wonder how much of that is down to the way that I use it versus the way that other people use it.
Well, that's what I'm saying is
it's hard to say.
I don't play AAA games on there either very often, and it doesn't do that for me. So
yeah, I guess it's a difficult argument because everyone is seeing a different front page in this thing. So yeah, some people may be seeing a bunch of garbage. I never do. Like, so I'm like, what's the problem? Like, these are all interesting in some way.
I got some news.
I think Jesse had an opinion. He's just trying to formulate it into a way that makes sense. He might not, but let's hear him out regardless.
Do it, Jesse.
All of this sounds like internet bullshit to me. Everything, every bit of it. The reason why people are upset at GOG, to me, is because they didn't want a game that turned out to be popular on their service, but had no one played that game, no one would have given a shit. And GOG just thought that it wasn't going to be successful, probably, and they were like, we don't know what the hell to make of this game, so we don't want it because we're curating. And the only reason why people give a damn is because it turned out to be something people played, and so people jump on the bandwagon and are like, that game was great, fuck GOG. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have people who are like, we don't want curation because then we'll miss out on certain games. But like, the entire time still complaining about how there's too much shit on Steam. So like, it's all just internet bullshit. Like, no one's ever going to be happy. There's no possible answer that's going to satisfy everyone. God bless people like, Valve trying to fucking work in this landmine, this minefield of the internet, trying to please everyone with
God
algorithms
bless
and
Valve,
shit.
those good guys,
You know
just
what?
trying to make everyone happy. Just trying to do the best thing they can.
People shit on them, but like, they have literally flown people out to try and figure out like how to fucking fix shit. So you can't hate on them.
And it's tricky.
They flew
As it
people out
turns
to
out,
fix shit?
it's quite hard.
Yeah.
Quite hard to
just
fix
saying.
it. Like, you've
It's
got
tough.
to approach this problem in a multitude of different ways. And yes, that also involves using people outside of the company to be influencers and recommendation guys. People that you can trust, that will actually look through that shit. And you might say, well, that's offloading all the work.
I agree
Yeah, but maybe it's
yeah.
offloading the work to people who are more qualified. Because I don't think Valve's server engineer is more qualified to find good games than I am. I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, without a healthy, balanced diet and a healthy snack of which you could balance out your diet with, you couldn't do any of the above. And thankfully, there's companies out there that are just doing the research they need to create those kind of products for us so we can do this.
Filled with
You know what I
green
mean?
penis.
Oh, my.
Jesse, come on. We start with, this sounds like internet bullshit, and we end
It
with,
is internet
Valve
bullshit,
are
though.
good guys just trying to do the right thing by everybody.
No.
Come
I would never say Valve are good guys. I'm saying they're trying. Valve is just like everyone else is.
Valve are not good guys. Valve's just are.
Yeah,
You know,
Valve
they
is
are
Valve's a
this.
here.
company. It's
And
just
they're not going
trying
anywhere.
to consume money.
Yeah,
There might
but,
be good
like-
people there.
The,
They're not
the
specifically
concept, though, is
evil, but they're not specifically
the
good
complaints
either.
is what I'm saying. Is there's no
Yeah.
the internet user, the video game consumer, there is no like perfect scenario in which they're gonna be like, yes, I'm very happy now and
I
content.
agree.
That's never fucking happening. So like, you can either yell at GOG or you can yell at Valve. All they're doing is trying to make a buck and run a company and like doing it in different ways. But neither of those are going to satisfy everyone, and literally everyone's just going to shit on them no matter what they do. So
Yeah.
like, it's internet bullshit.
That's fair.
But the
It
reality
drives
of
me
it is,
crazy.
the vast majority of people are actually perfectly happy with it because they're not the ones yelling. Steam
Yeah.
has a lot of fucking
Yeah.
users. So does GOG. Not to anywhere near the magnitude of Steam, but the amount of people yelling about this kind of thing is a very small vocal minority, which means that the service is working relatively well for most people. So it's doing all right. It can always be improved. Everything can be improved, and they should continue to improve it. There's plenty of things they could do. But that takes time. And you can't just throw money at the problem and make it go away. Doesn't work that
Well,
way.
They're
I'll
trying
take that
though.
one.
They're trying very hard. They're just like, take the money and make it better.
Doesn't work
And
that
I'm
way.
fine. I'd rather they do that than do nothing. So fuck it.
I gotta take all that money and just throwing it at VR right now. That's all they're doing. Every last cent.
No.
It's like the... Otherwise, oh god, news-wise, it's just been fucking dull as shit. It's like, well, there's lots of cheaters in PUBG, and we try to stop them, but they just keep coming.
I'm shocked.
So, we're going to...
Cheaters.
Yep, they have various measures in place. Like they're going to disable Steam family sharing, because apparently that's a bid to halt cheaters. That's an interesting one. They're going to stop using an external program called Reshade, which apparently allows you to fuck with the foliage and view distance in some way. But what they won't do, which a lot of people have been asking them to do, is to region lock the game so the Chinese can't play. And here we go again. I'm back to hating Asians. The Chinese can't play on Western servers, which is what
Yeah.
a lot of the player base has asked for, because that's apparently where the vast majority of cheating is coming from.
Interesting.
For some reason. I could not tell you the reason for
the
that.
Chinese are cheating? Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Okay, just want to be clear.
You know, that sounds worryingly familiar to a quote that I heard from somebody else quite recently. I wonder if that was the goal. Anyway,
Are you running
apparently,
for office?
I mean,
What's
why
happening
not?
right now?
It's not like you require any qualifications to do it these days. Apparently, PUBG Corp has banned over 1.5 million accounts.
Holy
That is
fuck.
a shitload of accounts. Fuck me. That's a lot of people, and apparently it's not doing much. It's
China's
really...
where the game is biggest, isn't it?
I mean, China's player base is absolutely massive for that game.
Yeah.
Let me get
It's
back on the
huge.
soapbox. I've said this before. Banning people is not what you do. You actually, like, permanently put them into a
In
queue
with other
where they
cheaters.
only get queued with other cheaters. Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure why they haven't implemented that yet.
They wouldn't know. They wouldn't buy another account. They would keep cheating against each other. Eventually, they'd figure it out,
they'd figure it out.
obviously.
Yeah, but it's about buying time. It's like
Yes.
it's like the idea of muting somebody on Twitter versus blocking them, right? If you block them, they instantly know and then create a new account and continue to be an idiot. If you mute them, it takes them a while to figure out that you can't hear their bullshit.
Right.
That's an effective method in games as well.
Can I say, for the record, I would love to see cheater esports. I would love to watch PUBG where they all the cheaters
shit out of that.
Wouldn't that be incredible?
Like a
I would
video
watch
game
the
version
shit
of
out of that.
Fight at that point.
That would be like just like they have the guy playing and there's like a hacker in the background, like, and the guy's like bigger gun. I would love that shit. In my mind, it's like a cool movie. They're flying through the Matrix. I want that shit so bad.
Same. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Where that? Oh my god. There's got to be like the Hacker Olympics. I'm just not cool enough to know about. Does that shit exist?
I don't.
But like
so.
not like boring hacking where they're like in DOS. I mean like where they're in their Unix system flying around skyscrapers and shit. Where's that?
Matrix hacking. That was the better one.
Yeah.
It's a K6 chip, triple the speed of a Pentium. I will have you know. When it comes to quoting hackers, that is one of my main skills.
Hack the planet.
Hack the planet.
Also known as the big red book that won't fit on the shelf.
Even the way you said that is how it's said.
Yeah, some of the posts on the PUBG subreddit are really quite amusing under the anti-cheat update. One of the most high-voted ones is this. PUBG doesn't need anti-cheat. PUBG needs anti-China. Just saying.
User TotalBiscuit too. That's weird. That was
it's strange.
Yeah.
He seems... And I thought he only disliked Koreans. Apparently, it's extended to other Asian nations as well.
Where are we?
I don't know. Strange place.
We're in Trump's America, Dodger, to answer your question.
Oh dear.
Good night, everybody. It's been good.
It's like,
Have a good one.
Just put us all on the second Vulcan Heavy, please. We're done.
You know what?
Put us in the second Roadster.
I got one, John. We can bring it back to a wholesome story.
Wow.
Yesterday, the internet, had a moment where it inhaled, and a hero came back to streaming. And
oh, for fuck's sake, please no. Please don't do this.
No, not now.
I don't know anything about this. And
No,
it broke my I was live streaming and it broke my live stream. Whatever happened broke Twitch, and I don't know what it is.
Nothing happened. Literally nothing happened.
Nothing
it was you.
happened.
You broke Twitch.
I broke Twitch.
So beloved. Yeah.
It was Jesse, you guys. Jesse with his 8 big boobs.
They were phenomenal.
Like,
the internet could not handle the 8-bit boobies.
They put the pixels in just the right place.
They were perfect.
I mean, frankly, Jeff, I was expecting you to segue quite nicely with speaking of cheating, but
yeah.
I guess you're just not on. You're not really on board with that.
I honestly, joking aside, I'm just afraid of because there's
afraid of the fan base. Yeah,
divisive is the word. Yeah, divisive subject where there are people that vehemently will argue that it was a normal thing. That it was just a guy coming back to streaming after a little while. It wasn't anything about the hype from something else.
Oh, definitely not.
Crazy.
Yep. Those are just parts of Twitch that I don't go. Like, because I know the sort of demographic of my audience, and I see the demographic of those people, and my audience is twice their age. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stay in my smaller space. And I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that. Because fucking hell, I would not want to be in a space where I'm responsible for that many 10-year-olds. That is too many 10-year-olds for anybody to handle.
To me, it's more like when I look at numbers like that, I get anxiety. Like, God, I would not want that.
I don't think it comes to a point where it doesn't really
That's
matter anymore, does it? Once you get past a certain point, it's like, does fucking 250,000 actually have any difference whatsoever with 300,000? Not really.
Well, I wonder.
There's only 2 people that could tell you the answer to that question, I guess.
Yeah, there are only 2, yeah.
I guess I wonder whether or not anybody has ever reached even not even that many viewers, right? But like just in the upper echelon of Twitch viewership and been able to really maintain like a close community feel.
No.
I feel like it's impossible.
No, absolutely not.
Well, hey,
no.
Before we go further, there's people in the chat that understand. I will say this non-trolly. I know that this is a sensitive subject.
Oh god, yeah, I definitely trust you to be able to do that. But yeah.
No, I will.
You want to take the bullet for this? You go right ahead.
I'm so lost, but
go right ahead.
All right, I'm gonna do it. So
Go for
this
it.
is for the people that don't understand what
All
happened.
yours.
I actually I prefer in video format because I can fully explain myself. It was kind of dumb to tweet about it yesterday because there's people that misconstrue it. So Dr.
On Twitter?
Disrespect, who
No.
is one of the fastest rising, one of the bigger streamers on Twitch, certainly in like the top tier, ended up publicly kind of ousting himself as someone that needed to deal with a family issue where he was unfaithful to his wife. This is all what he said on his stream, and he said he's going to take some time off to do that. He's a big guy. It's a very famous stream, but the video, him crying about it, kind of him dealing with this, was its own thing. Like, people saw this. It's kind of amazing. It's never happened before on this scale on Twitch. So it had its own life. But he took time off, presumably to deal with this, came back on February 5th, which is yesterday, in his stream as a single streamer, hit concurrence of, I think it was 380,000 or 390, something like that. A number that
It was
the second closest
highest
person is Tyler 1.
Yeah, according to Slasher, esports journalist of some note, he did say that this was the most concurrent a single streamer has ever received. Some people are disputing this.
There's some debate on that.
Yeah, but
Well,
I
Twitch
actually,
confirmed it,
but I actually trust Slasher's sources as opposed to random 13-year-olds on the internet. So I'll stick with what Slasher has to say on that one.
Yeah.
He is generally right when it comes to that sort of thing.
So to
yeah.
finish
anyway,
up,
it doesn't matter.
biggest
It's a lot
single
of
stream
people.
ever. He conducted himself fine. He's a character streamer, so it's not like he sat there and was like, I cheated on my wife, it was awesome, and nothing like that. But the element of
Fucking hope not.
the element of drama generating hype and advertising and creating a situation where a guy who normally has 20, 25, maybe 30,000 viewers, sometimes even less, 15,000, still very big, obviously, would come back after a month and a half and have a nearly 400,000 person stream. And right now he's streaming to 80,000 people. It'll keep going down, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, it'll
A
return to
big
normal.
deal. Is expected. There's nobody out there that doesn't have stories of Logan Paul getting more subs or such and such movie celebrity cheating on someone and then, becoming more famous. Like, it happens. We know that. But I think it was a little bit jarring for a lot of us streamers just because at the same time, the idea that that is what does bring in that kind of numbers, or at least part of it. Obviously, it's not the only reason, but him
To
just
have
taking
some
a break
kind
and
of a
coming back.
scandal associated
Yeah,
with you.
Yes.
and it's sad to see
Exactly.
that scandal and drama are things that, we've known that that's worked on YouTube for a very long time.
Mhm.
That's been a hugely effective way of making a lot of money, and we're seeing more of it on Twitch, and that is quite sad. I don't think it's good under any circumstances.
And there's a lot of people that got locked up in the argument. They're like, well, what, do we not forgive him? Should he lose his job? No, I don't think anyone at least prominent and fairly coherent is saying anything like that.
Well, I mean, for a viewer, that's up to you. Is it, do you want to watch a person that did that thing or not? That's an individual decision that you have to make.
And honestly, I would even go further. Maybe John doesn't agree with this, but I would tell you it's okay if you do, by the way. Like, you can't really watch a movie as the Weinstein shit's coming out. That
well, no, you
doesn't have
it's a fair
someone
point.
in there that's groped somebody. Like, it's pretty
it does
terrible.
something wrong, yeah. That's
Yeah.
fair. That is fair.
So it's just, that was the talking point. It hit record-setting levels, so that's why it was a talking point. But I tweeted about it yesterday, and my God, you guys, I had some people. I mean, it's Twitter, so
you
it's not like,
kicked
wow,
a
what-
fucking wasp's nest
I know.
by going anywhere
guess.
near that shit.
I didn't even think I was. That's the funny part. I like stepped into, how like sometimes a house turns into a wasp nest. Like I barged in through the door and rolled through like 17 feet of wasp nest and got up and was like, "Holy cow!"
There's like just more
This is a
wasp
pickly
nests.
situation.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So that was my day.
I feel like this. I think it goes back to the idea that a lot of YouTubers and streamers and just influencers in general have, which is they're viewed as time more as a commodity rather than a person. And so his commodity, like what he was selling, people were interested in and at that moment buying. And it was the hype around what it was, and they wanted to be there for the event. It had nothing to do with him personally, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know this person. I don't know the situation. This is the first time I've heard of it. But like literally, it sounds like they went for the event. And it's the same thing when, anything happens that is of major note on like I trying to think of the last time there was something weird that I heard about where like this girl went on our stream and like painted her face like a clown and like cried and got $20,000 in an hour, like that kind of shit. And it's like, okay, I don't think it had anything to do with her. I think it's the event. People went there to go be a part of whatever weird shit was there.
Yeah, it really
and
is.
I think
it's the, like, the zeitgeist.
It's the spectacle.
It's not, and that's really all it is. And it doesn't last. But it's just weird that we're in that situation now where that can happen live and people can click one link and be right there involved, you know, basically as bystanders to a car wreck. You know, it's fucking rubbernecking being taken to an absolute extreme.
It's like Twitch Plays Pokemon is another version of that. Like, it's a different side of that coin. It's like everyone wanted to be a part of that event. It was a weird thing that happened, and so they could be a part of it. It's just, you know, that's just the nature of the beast.
That's what it is.
And we'll see how, I mean, it's obvious this is somewhat important on Twitch. God bless. Here's to continued success and less cheating on your significant other.
Yeah, maybe don't do that again. That's all I'll say on that one.
Yeah.
I won't go any further than that. Let's do some releases, shall we? That sounds like a good idea.
Don't get the wrong idea, Dodger.
Huh?
Our
fart joke.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Let's do some releases, you guys. Come on.
I definitely farted
It was all right.
ago. I was just wondering how you knew.
There's so many farts happening. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. There's lots of farts.
I muted Mike several times over the last 5 minutes. I'm just,
so many farts.
I'm just being as
Gotta get them
nice
out.
as I can.
Fartcast, am I right?
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah. That's what it is.
I haven't farted, but my dog farts all the time, so it basically counts.
I mean, I look at that dog and it looks like a farty dog.
He's a
Really.
farting dog.
It does. It does look like a smelly pooch. But you know what? That's fine. That is fine. The rest of it, makes up for that. All right. Let's have a look at some video games, shall we? We've got some of those. We also have a release list that we've been having a little gander at.
You know what's not on there?
What's that?
But is it worth talking about because it's not on there?
Okay.
I'm guessing it's not on there. Phoenix Point, right?
Well, that's not out on Steam yet. I don't think. Is it going into early access on Steam?
Good question.
Because
it's like this.
I backed that game and then I never paid any attention to it after that. I played the working prototype.
Looks amazing. Nobody knows when it comes out, and they're having issues, I guess.
I mean, I hope they take as long as they need with it, because I played the working prototype, and holy shit, was it rough. No question about that. But I'm hoping it'll be good. Yeah, it's by a lot of the guys that were behind the original XCOM. So that'll hopefully be nice. On February the 6th, here's an interesting turn of events. You remember the fellas that made Hatred, that game that caused, well, I guess a bunch of non-controversy because it was the spree killing game? Well, for a lot of people don't know, they actually released another game a long time ago called ISIL Defense, which was literally you on a base shooting ISIS people as they invaded the US coast. Which
sound like nice people.
Well, now they've come along with Ancestors Legacy, which is a squad-based real-time strategy game, which reminds me quite a bit of Myth. I don't know how many of you remember the Myth series, but back in the day, that was quite the good RTS. It wasn't a base-building RTS, it was a very kind of squad-based RTS, but this looks really fucking good.
I saw this at PAX South. The line was huge to play this.
The open beta, the multiplayer open beta has started today, and holy fuck, look at this thing. It looks pretty damn good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very interested in trying that. I might try that after the show.
How do you go from a serial killer game to a very like ISIS killing game, which is just like crazy? They're like, yeah, just now normal RTS.
It's called growing the fuck up, is what it's called. And I feel like they did that. I feel like it clicked. Eventually, they were like, maybe making shit isn't gonna get us a lot of money, guys.
Yeah.
I'll say one thing about Hatred. It had a really good aesthetic. It was creepy as fuck. It was it was black and white noir with obviously a lot of red, and it looked good. The lighting was fucking incredible. Like what they were doing with that engine was excellent. But obviously the rest of the game was kind of shitty. In this case, I mean, this looks very intriguing to me. So I'm very interested to know about that. And It's very much inspired by medieval European history, so looks like more realistic unit types, less magic and stuff like that. So I'm going to try the open beta after the show, I think. That looks quite good.
Does look good.
It does. Dodger, you had one.
Satellite?
You did, yeah, Satellite.
Yeah, there's not very many games available. And I do like a visual novel with good art. So this one looks like there's robots and there's good art. There's one panel of a girl in a bikini. I don't know.
So
Could
Jesse.
be good.
Okay.
Me?
What?
How?
So there's that one. The other one.
Jesse doesn't play that many visual novels. Because again, that goes back to the work for porn
Girl
genre.
in bikini, though, bruh.
It's the work for porn genre. You've got to read a bunch, and then you get a little bit of porn.
It depends on the visual novel. In some of them, you're like, I'm a new guy at school. I'm so excited to start my high school life. And then you walk into a room and there's a naked girl there.
And that's a game I'd play.
Sometimes
I don't have to work for it. You know what, Jeff, you're right. People today are so late. We don't want to have to work for our rewards. You were right the entire time. I don't want to have to work for the nip. I just want it to be there.
As much as it says,
you were right.
We've gotten so lazy. It's a visual novel. It's actually got a little bit of adventure element, like point and click in here as well, as I'm seeing in the trailer. That is interesting. Like, it looks like a post-apocalyptic sort of drive around the desert kind of game. That looks kind of neat.
The other one that I snagged was the re-release of Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh yeah, a little controversial, that re-release. And
How come?
Mostly because a lot of the techniques that they use to get it.
It's the same game.
No, no, it's not though.
For some people, that's been the thing. Is they're like, oh,
well, of course it
right.
is.
It's just a game with nothing in it.
The thing is that some of the techniques that they use on the PS2 to get a game that looks that good working involved a lot of visual trickery, which actually turned out to really be part of the aesthetic of the game. Right. One of those being the very washed out look, and the other being the fog. They used a lot of fog techniques. Now, that's gone from the remaster, and the graphics are a lot cleaner and a lot brighter as a result. Now, some would argue that that's an improvement, but some would argue that that is not. You know, it's a very subjective thing. There's been numerous examples of remasters where this has happened. One being, I think, where people universally reviled it, was the Silent Hill collection, where they took away all the fog in a fucking foggy horror game, which is not a very good idea, generally speaking. But for Shadow of the Colossus, it's a toss-up. I personally prefer the old art style, and it would have been nice to have the option to play both. That would have been pretty cool. Outside of that, though, it's also one of the greatest games ever made, and you should probably look at it. Just want to point that
while we've been talking about this, people have just continued to watch.
Well, Satellite. I mean, it's not on Steam, so it's not like I can bring up the footage from there. But outside of that, you've got Mercenary Kings Reloaded Edition. I think this is coming to Switch as well, which is pretty good. Mercenary Kings came out a while ago. It was sort of a little bit of a Metal Slug crossed with roguelike looting kind of game. And this version is a Reload Edition. It's got a bunch of new content, and it's also going to be available on different devices, which includes the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation Vita, of all things. So I'll pick this up for Switch, definitely. This game was quite a lot of fun. And it looks like they might have ironed out a lot of the holes in the gameplay that were... It was quite a repetitive game, let's just put it that way. You know, because the levels weren't really customly designed, but I'll check that out. That seems good. We also have Black Hole on Switch and Bleed 2 on PlayStation 4. All right, moving on to February the 7th, we have another Dodger game.
Indecision. This game, the description is a haiku platformer, short and vague.
Oh, wow.
Great.
I gotta know. I gotta play it. I gotta know. What does that mean? A haiku platformer? What the fuck does that mean?
I love this. The description is as follows. It's a platformer. It's short and vague. You won't feel like you've achieved anything.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
It's self-aware.
Yeah, I mean, that basically is the Co-optional podcast every week when I wrap the show up. Like, in every way, except for the short...
3 hours. You won't achieve anything.
Yes. It's long and vague. You won't feel like you've achieved anything. There we go. Fair enough. Jesse, you spotted Card Crawl, I noticed.
Yeah, this is a game I saw it and immediately thought, my God, Dodger will probably be playing this for a week. It looks
She probably
very...
already has because it was on iOS.
Yeah, I guess that's very true. It is a very cute looking card sort of dungeon crawler game, a solitaire style dungeon crawler. Looks
Yeah,
pretty
it
cute.
is. I picked it up initially on iOS. I personally didn't enjoy it that much because there's a bit too much solitaire in it and not enough of everything else. But this is good news for me because these guys came out with the second game called what was it? Card Thief, which was a stealth game using cards, and it was fucking brilliant. The art was amazing. Mechanics are just creative as fuck. And if they're bringing Card Crawl to PC, that probably means they're also bringing Card Thief to PC, which is a good thing. So if this isn't your thing, keep an eye out for the other one. Or if you want something on iOS, get them on that too, because they've been out there for quite some time. But yeah, it is good though. I know a lot of people enjoyed Card Crawl. It just was a little bit too much solitaire for my liking. Outside of that, not much really on
Treasure Adventure World.
Treasure Adventure World.
It was one that I snagged. Yeah.
Ah, yes. Which is
it's a puzzle, a side-scrolling puzzle-y game that looks like it might be kind of cute.
It is that. You are on a magical shrinking boat in your pocket. You search for legendary treasures and solve tricky puzzles and battle formidable foes. This looks, yeah, you're right. This looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the look of that. Moving on to February the 8th, we have another Dodger pick.
Yeah, Reptiloids. I can't
Why?
believe that.
Why did you?
I can't believe that Jesse didn't grab this piece of art.
I showed it to you so we wouldn't pick it. So we would not
the fuck
pick it. I was
We
like,
have
this
to
is an
share
example
it.
of
We
a
have to
bad
share it
game.
with everyone.
Oh,
You're
God.
trying to
I
save
think
your
the nice thing about this
girlfriend
trailer is
from
it shows
Reptiloid.
everything about the game.
I mean, I'm getting a strong impression that I know what this game is about. It looks
Yeah,
like a
sure.
very cut down version of Dead Rising without everything that made Dead Rising good.
Can people hear the audio of this game, TB?
No, I don't do that. I don't put that through.
The voiceover is literally this guy going, "Wow, all right."
Okay, I will pull, using
It is-
live production magic. I will
Okay.
make this happen for you. God, I hope that I don't have anything else with
Wow.
sound on. All right, let me put this back on. Okay, we're gonna add a little
all
sound
right.
here. We're gonna unmute this. Okay, we are running sound right now. Oh, you weren't kidding. It's using stock music.
Whoa. Wow.
God damn it.
God dang.
Right, okay, that is quite enough of that.
You know what's gonna come out is this is the
Alright.
kind of game that was made by a fucking algorithm. Like not a single
Yeah.
human actually touched it.
Was not involved in it. Yeah. It,
YouTube
and now
algorithm.
you know why I don't generally play sound on fucking trailers.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
my girl for her.
Okay, right. Moving on to one that you hopefully
I
picked
want the
not.
Jesse version.
Please tell me the next one was picked not just for laughs.
Yeah, this is a game that I've actually been looking forward to coming out called Aegis Defenders.
Okay.
Ooh,
I
it looks
feel
so
like
good.
I've seen a lot of footage of this
Wow.
game. Wow, what a good-looking game.
That's actually the sound for that game as well.
save your girlfriend.
They were all they were all
You gotta
done.
save your girlfriend in Aegis Defenders.
What you don't know
Switch-
is that these
switch
are
to this
actually
character.
all acted by Matt Mercer. Like he's just uncredited.
Oh man, Matt Mercer plays every character in this game.
He is in everything.
It is true. And it's very noticeable as well. He's become the new Steve Blum.
Yeah, soon he will be playing Steve Bloom.
Yeah.
Matt Mercer will just become Steve Bloom. Yeah.
We might need more voice actors in video games. Maybe. Yeah, so it's a sort of platformer combined with a tower defense game where you can fight, but you can also place defenses and shit. This looks really interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've been following this game for a bit. It looks
Cool.
awesome.
Whoa.
Yes.
a fire slug? Wow.
Right. I've got a pick. There might be WoW involved
Is
in
that
this as
a
well.
fire slug?
It's called fucking Laser League.
Okay, yes,
Oh.
I'm in.
There's a lot of sort of bullshit about it being the next this is going to be the next Rocket
at all
League,
those
blah, blah,
awards.
blah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's bullshit. But it does look like a very entertaining Tron. You know, it's a bit of Tron in there. I'm getting a little bit of Tron from there, a little bit of Gladiators, and a little bit of Light Cycles, and a bit of Ricochet. That fucking amazing game on
2 parts
Half-Life
Rocket
100.
League. Fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah, this
Mentally out.
This looks quite cool. So apparently they've been working on this since 2014, and it looks pretty great. And now they have a trailer with streamers in it and their face cam, and now I suddenly don't want it anymore. It's
Now
funny
I
how
gotta
that
watch
works.
this.
Yeah, maybe you should.
Oh my God.
Stop doing that in your trailers, please.
Wow.
And there was another one I found, which
Sexy girls play it too.
Well, yes, possibly. The name of this game did not inspire too much confidence, but
Laser League.
it's called Nightwolf Survive the Megadome. It's
Okay,
very
that's
much
Oh,
like
you know what? This
very
looks cool.
80s.
I don't care. This looks cool.
Very 80s kind of Mad Max. The most popular combat sport in the world is the Megadome. Survive the onslaught of motorized enemies and dispatch them with style. The crowds will love it. I fucking love car combat, especially when it's done well. And I love the fact that it seems like they've mixed that in with a Running Man sort of future game show style thing. This looks pretty legit.
If you like this, John, have you checked out a game called Mario Kart? It's come out a few different times.
I don't recall Mario Kart being a satire of future capitalism gone wrong. But
you
it
just
might
don't understand the underpinning complexities
Maybe I
of Mario
just
Kart.
don't understand. Maybe
It's an
I just
indictment
don't
of capitalism.
understand that.
That's what Mario Kart's about.
I mean, it is about.
Yes.
It's about grabbing coins, and then the guy at the front gets screwed over somehow.
Right.
I mean,
It's an
I'm sure
indictment
in
of capitalism.
some way that applies.
It's about banking in
This
America.
game does look cool.
Yeah.
But
looks
is
great.
it 2 parts Rocket League? Because if it's not 2
I don't
parts
think
Rocket
I don't
League,
think it is 2 parts Rocket League.
All right, then why do I even care?
I don't know. Maybe I can get a few streamers in there. We'll make it
I was just gonna say I don't see streamers playing this either, so now I don't know if I can.
I'll get a few
connect with
streamers
it.
in.
It's the Dark Souls of Rocket League.
Oh my god,
That'd
please
be the
stop.
perfect game. That'd be the perfect game. Wow, this is the Dark Souls of Rocket League.
All right.
I can play with my
Also,
girlfriend.
big deal release for those of you that like Civ. Rise and Fall comes out on February the 8th.
That's gonna be a good game.
I have played a little bit of the expansion, nowhere near as much as I would like, but the Zulus just got announced today, and holy shit, their abilities look completely broken. So I'm very much looking forward to playing them and running over everybody. So that should be pretty cool. So yeah, big expansion. They always make Civ games better. I actually can't think, and I wonder if chat can, of an example of a Civ expansion that has not significantly improved the game. Actually, there is one. Civ 3 Play the World was
Man, that
pretty
took
shitty.
you about 2 seconds to answer that question.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I
almost
challenge you guys to find what. You know what? There is.
it's almost
one.
like I
There's,
preloaded that question in a way that would make me sound smart. It is possible, but outside of that, Civ 5 had Gods and Kings, which was a huge improvement. Civ 4 had whatever the fuck that was, which was a huge improvement. Yeah, so it'll be probably a big deal, and hopefully they improve the AI to some extent.
I will play that.
Yeah,
I like Civ 5 more than 6 personally, but if this makes it better, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've played more of 5 than I have of 6. Like, 6 for me felt like this is better as a base game, but the problem is 5 with both expansions exists, which is a better game than this. So it's like, if I really want to get into this, I need to wait until there's at least one expansion out, which there now is. At least there will be in 2 days, so that's great. The Switch is getting Disc Jam, by the way, which is a really fun Ricochet-style sort of volleyball game with laser discs. So you might want to grab that. That seems like a really good platformer for that. Aegis Defenders is also coming out on Switch and PS4 that day.
Is it
So
weird that
that's
when I
neat.
hear volleyball game, I still think boobs?
No?
I think you're
I
supposed
think
to.
there's a solid association between the two that's built up over a while. Although boobs, as opposed to arse, is a strange association when dealing with volleyball.
As opposed to thighs?
As opposed to those things, the derriere.
It's really volleyball.
There's an
Volleyball's
emphasis,
all about thighs.
on the derriere, as opposed to anything else. So I do find that a little odd. Moving on to
And now for Dodger being awkward for 25 minutes, just like,
Oh yeah,
These boys are
yeah,
creeping me out.
because Dodger is really
Boys talking
awkward
about movies.
around the subject of arses. Yeah, she's known to be really, really shy about that kind of
I
thing.
wasn't referring to that. I was referring more to the three guys who were like, yeah, and then boobies and ass, and she's just like,
I want to play a side scroller that features a kitten running through boogers.
I would play that.
Yes, I have
If there
no
was
doubt.
a titty involved, I'd be fine with it. It's just
Moving
Just
on.
a single titty off the kid.
Just one.
whoa, this is a game where a cat side scrolls through boogers, and the final boss is a tit. What?
now it is.
Genius.
Yes.
It's a
Thank you.
big,
Thank you for putting
huge
it in
comment.
the
commentary.
Teach the game.
final boss is a tit. Just one.
huge commentary
That
on
is-
capitalism gone wrong and the weaknesses in our society. A case of distrust is what I'm currently feeling about the lot of you. On February the 9th,
Yes, Case of Distrust. It's a narrative mystery game set in 1924 San Francisco.
you play as private investigator Phyllis Cadence Malone in this historical 2D adventure game. Looks nice. I like the aesthetic.
I like the
Very
aesthetic
cool.
too.
Very cool.
Looks like it could be interesting.
Yep. There is
Looks like it
a...
won some Sundance Awards as well.
It won a lot of shit, which makes me think it's more of a movie than a game. But hey,
I feel like this has been on our list before. I remember seeing this
Has it?
before. Yeah, I don't know why.
well, I mean, if it
Or
was
either
a
I was
Sundance
looking
thing,
into
probably
it or it was on the list. I don't remember, but
I've never seen it before, so whatever. Descenders is one I spotted, mostly because I keep getting pestered by the same PR guy to try it. He's very good at his job, by the way, Mike Rose. He's very good at yelling at people and getting them to try games. It's a procedurally generated, downhill, sort of extreme mountain biking game. So you've got procedurally generated courses and terrain and all sorts of shit like that. And it looks like you go really fucking fast. And it looks like its terrain is really fucking awesome. And you can do stunts and shit. So that may very well be worth looking at. All right? It looks appealing to me as someone who has no actual interest in mountain biking. It still looks appealing because going downhill very, very fast on a vehicle is always entertaining, especially when it involves backflips. So, yeah. There you go, Mike Rose. You got your little plug for that one. Oh my god, he went
There you go,
over a
Mike.
train! He went over a
Hope you're
train in
happy,
that trailer.
Mike Rose.
Damn it,
Yeah.
Mike Rose.
Michael
Work-
Jonathan Rose.
He used to work for
Lives
Gama
at
Sutra.
436 Western Avenue.
And he got
Yeah.
a real job.
Awesome.
We've got a version of Dragon Quest Builders for the Switch, which apparently runs pretty well according to testing, especially if it's plugged in.
It's not a bad game. It's a Dragon Quest game that's
Yep.
basically Minecraft. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too shabby. I think there was a version that came out for the Vita that ran like absolute dog shit, but apparently this version, even for portable, is pretty damn good on Switch. So that's nice. Pretty happy about that. And why on earth? Could you please explain why you chose this one?
Yeah, hey, real talk. We rarely promote fighting games on our list. And so Under Night in Birth is like an actual
Man,
really
that's the
good
most
fighting
anime
game.
fighting of anime fighting games. That
It's
one.
super anime, but it's like right up there with like Guilty Gear and Blaz Blue. With like actual quality, and people love this damn thing. So like check it out. If anime fighting is like your jam, it's up there. It's up there with those two. And it's very good. So
I mean, half of me would say that it's a bad time to release this, but let's be honest. The audience that are playing Dragon Ball are not playing Under Night in Birth. So,
Right.
yeah, I think it's a very different niche audience for those hardcore anime fighters. So I'm sure it'll do just fine for what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moving on
They're
to...
spoiled right now. They have two good games.
They got
now,
great
I think.
choice. Yeah, incredible choice. And I do
Yeah.
still mean to play Dragon Ball, despite not knowing anything about Dragon Ball universe. I was successfly convinced last week to give it a shot, and I
Everyone's
will.
ranting and
I
raving
will give
about
it a
it.
try. I will
Speaking
give-
of which, tonight they're announcing what games are at Evo, I think. They're announcing Evo stuff tonight, I believe is the plan. So
well, Dragon Ball's almost certainly going to be there.
finger
considering the
crossed for Dragon
popularity.
Ball, because that will be
Oh, it'll be
crazy
there.
fun to
There's no
watch.
fucking question.
yeah, that'll be amazing to watch.
There's also rumors that you remember the My Little Pony fighting game they were trying to make, and obviously they weren't allowed to do that, so they changed it to the very excellently named Them's Fighting Herds, which I thought was pretty fucking funny. They released a trailer a
Perfect.
couple of days ago, and it actually looks fucking hilarious. Like, it's really well animated and shit. So, who knows? That might actually end up there. I know they demoed something at EVO a couple of years back, but it's like, oh, this came from a My Little Pony fan game, and it actually looks like a legit fighting game now. So good on them for making that happen.
That's hardly a rare thing for My Little Pony. They also spawned the sexual revolution that is furries. I think that's incredible.
I don't know.
One, they were not
did
responsible for that.
Absolutely.
They might have spawned it in the hearts of many
bronies, perhaps,
furries,
yes, but furries definitely not. They have existed for longer than the internet.
Nope, furries were just seen in the early 90s, you guys.
Nope, there you are totally wrong. Moving on, February the 10th, as chosen by Dodger, you have Snow Globe.
Yeah, it's a VR point and click where you like wake up in a weird deserted area, and I like the idea of VR point and clicks. So
it's a good use of the tech, isn't it? Like, because basically a point and click is, for all intents and purposes, an escape room. So really, that works perfectly well, and you can keep the area relatively small that you move around in. And since it's a game about looking for things, you can hide things in the most silly places. You can pick things up and rattle a jar to see if there's something in there, look under a table, physically actually bend down to do that. That's a pretty cool use of it. You also have King of the Eggs.
Yeah, it's a 4-player, it's a multiplayer game where everybody plays an egg and you're trying to crack the other eggs.
Okay. This has a very, wow, that looks a lot like Pit People. Holy shit, does that aesthetic look quite close to Pit People.
Pit People.
These are the kind of games that don't generally do massively well on PC, do better on Switch and stuff like that, but it looks like, I don't know if it looks like it has online multiplayer, I think. It's got multiplayer and then local multiplayer listed, and then co-op and local co-op. So I'm going to assume it has an online feature, so that's pretty neat. Yeah. But yeah, maybe I'll wait for that to come to Switch to give it a shot, though. Looks fun, though, certainly. And I think that was about it, honestly. That's all we could really find of interest this week.
In the near future, Darkest Dungeon DLC, and you best have him back on the show to talk about that bitch.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm still waiting for them to update the iPad version, because the Switch version is like battling with the worst set of controls known to man, but the iPad version is out of date. They still don't even have Crimson Court on it, let alone their new one, which, oh god, what was the name of it? Cosmic something or other? I don't know. That's coming out. So yeah, they really need to sort that out. They said next couple of weeks for those releases. So I'm just waiting for that, because the iPad is a fucking fantastic
Have
venue
you not
to
played
play
otherwise,
that game.
John?
Yeah, I played a ton of it on PC.
Oh, okay.
But that game is fantastic for portability. So when it came out on Switch, I
could
thought
see it being
that
like
sounds
the best iOS game you can play, man.
Yeah,
Holy
and
cow.
it is. I mean, you can play it, and it's very, very good, but it's lacking Crimson Court. So it's really quite far behind. So it's like, I don't really want to waste time with another playthrough before I can have to start again to do Crimson Court, because it will not integrate. You know they won't let you get in there halfway through or whatever. If they do, well done to them, but they probably won't. Yeah. But yeah, on an iPad or on a phone, generally a tablet, because you want the space not to fuck up when you're moving inventory around, it is by far the best way to control it. And consoles are a really bad way to do it. The Switch version was really disappointing in that regard. Which is a shame, because it's a great game. Love that game to bits. I'll probably be playing Darkest Dungeon 10 years down the fucking line.
I know.
It just,
I bet it ages well, too, because it's just got a simplistic art style, but unique, and it's just so good. Yeah. And that art design. That's what I'm saying. Art design.
Sound design in particular. It's a genuinely creepy... I use the word intimidating, I think, is the best way to describe that game. That game is constantly intimidating. And that's because of the music, and it's because of the sound of getting hit by something. Everything sounds like it hurts. Yeah. It's nasty stuff. It's good stuff, though. Cool. Wow, we actually ran over time there. That was unexpected, considering we had no real news of note. We made shit up for an hour. Congratulations.
We had some giggles.
Well done. Well done to everybody. Mr. Jeff iNcontroL Robinson, thank you very much for coming on the show. The question is, what can people expect from you over the next couple of weeks? What's going on?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure. Jesse, I think we should do this again. This is, whenever...
Just to prove that it wasn't some sort of complex use of visual trickery.
With the hologramming. Yeah, it could have been a hologram.
Not impossible.
Holograms.
Well, I know a lot of you guys in the viewer base here are Warhammer fans. I'm actually heading down to Frontline Gaming Studio in San Diego on Thursday. I'll be doing a stream and probably recording a battle report, which will go out on their YouTube, and I'll tweet it out, of course. If you want to follow me on Twitter, iNcontroL TV. But I'm going to be showing off my brand new army, the Custodes, which I'm really excited about because I think they're gorgeous models. It'll be really fun. That's the best place to watch Warhammer 40K on Twitch. Like it's really hard to see it anywhere else. And then they put their videos up on their YouTube at Frontline Gaming.
I like catching the battle reports every now and again on the Frontline Gaming YouTube channel. It's good. They understand how to film that.
Yep.
And to make it interesting.
You have to. It's crazy. It's like they do it in 30-minute videos to give you an idea, and they use like 6 cameras, which is what you'd have to do to film Warhammer.
Yes. Because it can drag on a lot. So there's a lot of editing goes on, and stats come up on the screen and shit. It's the way to do it. It's like, that sounds great. Fuck the work that it involves, but, the fact that someone is doing that, that's wonderful.
That makes us all happy.
I am waiting for my copy of Necromunda to arrive. It should be very soon.
Your what now?
My copy of Necromunda to arrive.
Yeah.
I got it all painted up, and I can't wait.
People are going crazy over that. There's also, I guess, like Shadespire, the physical game, not just the...
Fucking Shadespire, man. Like, I looked at that and thought I had no interest in playing Shadespire because it's a Age of Sigmar game. Like, I don't care about Age of Sigmar. And everybody in the board game community has been going nuts over Shadespire over the last year. And I'm like, really? This is really good, is it? So I might end up picking up Shadespire just on the basis of that. It's not something I'm really interested in, but I mean, the dwarves are still kind of dwarves, and the undead are still sort of undead, even though they changed everything around to be weird and shit. So yeah, maybe I pick up Shadespire and give that a shot.
People are loving it.
It's so great that there's now a cheap set of specialist games to play, because for the last 10 years, Games Workshop were like, fuck this, we're not making any money out of it, so we're going to cancel every specialist game we have and just push Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k and fucking The Hobbit, because apparently that's what makes us money. But no, they've very much brought those things out again, and they're getting great responses to it. So well done to them for that. They're
actually like 700% better company the last 5 years or so.
They are massive improvement lately. Massive improvement.
Doing great. And just to wrap things up for me personally, guys, I stream on Twitch at iNcontroL TV. I play a lot of strategy games, but lately I've been completely obsessed with doing the Long War 2 mod for XCOM 2, and we have a really nice community. We just relax and hang out there. And that's it for me. Thank you, guys.
Well, there you go. Jesse, what you got?
Hey, yeah. So much like Jeff, my army of sanitation engineers is coming together, and I'm really excited to show those off for the first time. I also stream on twitch.tv/Jesse Cox, and I do YouTube at the exact same time, doubling up the game.
Wow.
On Jesse Cox on YouTube, and I cry myself to sleep because I do both those things, I guess is the answer. I don't know. Yeah, and hopefully, if speaking of YouTube, if this damn fucking platform ever works right, I might have a video uploaded at some point today. Been processing for 4 hours.
That will never happen.
Swiggity sweet. Keep it up, YouTube. That's why people use your fucked up platform still.
Yeah. Well, on the plus side, if all the other channels leave, I will have a monopoly.
You will. You will have a monopoly.
I will be king of a kingdom of shit at that point. In the country of the blind, and so on and so forth. Dodger, what's coming up on your channel this week? What's going on?
You can. Sorry, I feel like I need to sneeze. You can find me at Dex Bonus on pretty much everything. There it is. I stream a lot, and that's about it. Hey, I've also got a coffee company. You can find it at dodgercoffeeco.com.
You have scammed people into actually drinking that stuff. Well done.
Yeah.
People
I
love
wish
it.
I could scam people.
You don't have the motivation and the gumption. You need more gumption in your life.
I do need more gumption.
You've been in LA for too long. The gumption is gone.
I wish I had more gumption.
We should deal with that on the gumption side of things. You know, it'd be nice to
gumption, that residue that forms between the foreskin and the right.
That's something else entirely.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
That is smegma.
In
that
Wiggle
is not,
Penis.
in fact,
What's the name of that game? Wiggle Penis.
Wiggle Penis. Yes, that famous classic Wiggle Penis.
Wiggle Penis.
My God.
Oh, what a good name.
It's phenomenal, really. I don't see why it hasn't been used already. You know,
That's all I got, guys. I used all my good jokes.
Indeed, when it comes to gumption, hopefully, if we get the time this weekend, now that it has been fixed, we can get our group together and play Full Metal Furies, that 4-player action RPG game by the guys that made Rogue Legacy. We did try to stream this 2 weeks ago, and it was the most broken game we have ever played. It has now apparently been patched 12 fucking times, so we're hoping it's been fixed. So we will try and get something together for that. That should be fun. Outside of that, I have the unfun treatment tomorrow, but once I'm off that, I'll be back to hopefully making some videos, because I'm still sitting on that, what is it, Tesla versus Lovecraft video I've got to do, and all sorts of things like that for the Curation Club, another episode of the Snark Tank, since that seemed to go down pretty well the last time we did it, so we'll be doing more of that. And hopefully a stream or two. That would be quite nice. As for those asking about Shoutcraft Kings, hopefully towards the end of the month. I'll see. I will look into it. Let me put it this way. I look at the Blizzard calendar that we have access to, which has got all the community events on, and all of the events are in red. There's a lot of fucking red. So it will be tricky, but we'll see if we can fit a tournament in there somewhere. If Jeff is up for that, that might be quite good. I'll be up for that. That would be pretty nice. And next week, we will be welcoming, after 3 years, back to the show, Pyrian Flax, who has managed to dodge our show for the last 3 years, and dodged it repeatedly on a wide variety of ways. We will not allow this to continue to happen. He will be on the show next week, assuming that he is not horribly ill. But yes, he will be coming on the show, which will be great to see him again. That is nice. He's the only man on the show balder than I am, so that is always a good thing. Now, I feel more confident when he's around. And outside of that, buy my goddamn shirts. TotalBiscuit.shop is the place to go. TotalBiscuit.shop. And we are currently doing a little bit of research into the possibility of collectible co-optional pins. Co-optional animated pins. Not literally animated pins. No, we do not have the technology to do that.
Let's get into the skin
What
game.
about those holograms where like you look at it from different
Maybe
angles?
we could do that. That's possible. We'll look into it. But yeah, a series of animated pins. I know a lot of people keep asking about the goddamn figurines that we tried to make years ago and then discovered were far too expensive to manufacture.
They were very expensive, guys.
It was. There is one. You know, I have Jesse's prototype right here. It's been sitting on my shelf.
No one
Wait
can
a minute.
see it,
Nobody
but we
can
know
see
it
it
looks great.
because my camera's there. But trust me,
beautiful.
it looked great and cost far too fucking much, and I didn't want to sell it for that price. So, yes. Pins, on the other hand, pins we can do, I think. So keep an eye out for news on that over the next few weeks, and we'll even be giving people the chance to vote on characters and costumes from the co-optional animated show that they would like to see as a pin.
Oh.
Seems like a pretty good idea. Yeah. Should be neat. For some reason, people go nuts for pins. I can't imagine why, but whatever. If you're willing to buy them, we're willing to sell them, folks. All right, that's us done on the Co-optional Podcast. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time. Same place, same channel, with Pyrian Flax talking for 3 hours about how much he hates Dota, the game that he makes all of his money playing. Goodbye!